All right, welcome back. We are live. It's been a while, and I've done this with no preparation, as in no scheduled event or anything. I just thought I'd go live. It's probably been, I don't know, close to a month possibly since the last one. So I thought it was worth going live and saying hi and hanging out. Let me just pop this chat out here, and we'll get to it. Hey, John, welcome, mate. We've got Logan as well. How you doing? Let me chat. There we go. I might move this over to here. That's probably easier. All right. Actually, I didn't even see what I titled the stream. That's how. What's the title of the stream? We'll make sure it's relevant. Hopefully, it's just live stream or something, because I didn't actually check that. Yeah. Oh, that's all right. That's fine. All right. Welcome everybody. So I've got. Jeff here, welcome. Vinci Jail. So I thought we'd just hang out. I'll play a couple of different guitars over the course of the live stream. I'll get some caffeine in my system because I'm yet to have any today. So we'll do that on the stream here and we'll see what's going on. So let us know where you're from as well, guys. Oh, my chair's squeaking. Hopefully the sound's all right. Let us know what the audio's like. Guys from Oregon, Matt, welcome, mate. All right. So a bit of sad news I heard this morning. It happened obviously overnight. Kobe Bryant got killed in a helicopter accident. It was, yeah, pretty shocking. I still can't believe that, to be honest. It's how Stevie Ray Vaughan died. I don't know the exact specifics about it. I haven't looked into it yet, but I've seen a lot of stuff pop up, and yeah, it's a sad day, man, for you know, his family obviously, but anyone who's a sporting fan. Yeah, just horrible. You know, like after MJ retired, I kind of lost interest, and then yeah, and luckily Kobe, you know, like he was sort of like the guy that kept the league going, in my opinion. So yeah, pretty shocking news. So yeah, I don't know the specifics about it, but it's pretty terrible. All right, guys. So we've got guys from Florida, Illinois, Mississippi. Awesome, man. I got a song about that place. It was the most relaxed place I've ever driven through, man. I loved it. It was good. Sounds good. Awesome. Cool. So I'm plugged into the Kemper. I'm just using a profile I remade of my Marshall DSL, just on the Crunch channel, and I have a video coming up about the way that I was profiling the amps and what I was kind of only doing like half of the process. So a lot of the new profiles you're going to be hearing sound way better and indistinguishable, which I have a video coming up about as well. So yeah. For those wondering what this guitar is, it's just a stock made in Mexico Strat from maybe 3 years ago. Oh no, longer than that, probably 4 years ago now. What's the year on the back? It says MX-15, but I bought this in 2016, so yeah, it's getting old. Looking for a Strat bridge to go with my DiMarzio Area 67. Cool. Yeah, DiMarzio pickups I've never really gotten into with Strats. Not to say that they're not good, but I've never actually tried one. So yeah, I don't know a lot about DiMarzios. They're good if you want to rock. That's pretty much how I look at most of their pickups. They probably have like traditional single coil ones, but a lot of them are the, you know, the dual sort of blade pickups or the single coil humbucker pickups, as in single coil size, but with the humbucker technology. We got Desperate Maneuver says hi from San Francisco, California. Love the channel. Thanks, man. So I have some pretty cool news coming up for the last half of next year. I'm going to have a video coming up about, the last half of this year. I'm going to have a video coming up about that pretty soon. I'm on the last part of the organization front with that. And I just confirmed a few more things today. So you're going to be in for hopefully a bit of a treat and something different for pretty much like June onwards. So we'll see how we go with that. Yeah, I'm looking to do some different things with the YouTube channel, at least just short term, just to mix it up along with all the regular stuff that I do. So I'll keep you posted about that. Now we've got folks from everywhere. Stop No Names, welcome in. We were jamming last night. Oh, where did it go? The chat just scrolled. Yeah, so I was playing the Toadmaster Twin last night, and man, I got to tell you, that amp is so good. I played this Strat for a while. So if anyone has any questions or whatever, feel free to shoot some across, and I'll get onto it. My favorite guitar of NAMM. You know what? I must have watched 3 or 4 NAMM videos. I'm not overly interested in that sort of stuff. It's weird because I'm around gear a lot. I don't know if it's just like sensory overload that time of year, but I don't know. I don't know if I really saw anything that made me just go, oh wow, I really got to have that. I'm in the middle of doing a bit of a purge at the moment in terms of my gear. So yeah, I didn't watch a whole lot of videos. I saw some interesting sort of pedals and effects and stuff, but yeah, I don't know, man. It's sort of like I wasn't into it as much as probably a lot of guys were or are, and it's just the way that it is. I think it's probably mostly because I'm around guitars and stuff a lot. I just don't watch that kind of content a whole lot. But yeah, if you found something that you think is cool, let us know in the comments. I got Mustang from Traralgon. Welcome in. Hey, thanks, Mark. I appreciate that. He says, hey, Shane, Mark from Boston. Thanks for all the awesome content. Cheers, man. I'm underbending today, I think. Hang on. Let me just... You got to watch what you play on YouTube these days. So, yeah, someone said, can you hint at that song? But, yeah, that's gets you in trouble sometimes. Hey, Jamal, welcome, man. We got Dalton Blair from Oklahoma. Is the Fender Player's Strat or Tele a good first guitar? Absolutely. That's pretty much what this is, right? So this is the older model of that, and these can be used by anybody. You know, Jimmy Vaughan's a professional blues player. He only plays Made in Mexico stuff. So there's not a whole lot of difference between like an American-made Fender Strat and a Mexican-made one. The main difference is some of the hardware is going to be better on the American one, but in terms of the way it plays and that, there's not going to be a whole lot of difference. The pickups will vary as well. There are differences in the tone, but it's a subjective thing when it comes to tone. So I like this more than most Strats I've ever heard. So that's pretty much why I picked this one up. So yeah, it will do you fine. I've played everywhere with a Mexican Strat and they're fine. So those Play Series ones, you won't have any issues with them. And if you don't like the sound of it for whatever reason, you can change it up and make it pretty much the same guitar by replacing the pickups. What's my favorite amp at the moment? Probably the Fender Tonemaster Twin. I'm liking that because it's just light and it's really loud and it's got so much oomph. It's a great amp, man. It does sound a little bit different when you compare it to another amp side by side, but in the room, it is super loud, man. Or I can run it on 20 watts. And just the other night, I was recording on 1 watt here with it at the house, and it was awesome. So that's probably my favorite. I think, I like that for its practicality and the fact that it's as light as it is. But the favorite amp I have is the Marshall still. It's just 3 times heavier. I don't know if everyone knows, but a while back I had knee surgery, and it's the lighter option's the better option still at the moment. I'm fine, I can get around fine, but just sometimes, some days are still better than others with it. So I learnt my lesson taking the Marshall up and down the stairs a few times, as opposed to the Tone Master I could pick up with 2 fingers. It's just super light. One-handed keyboard guitarist says, hi from Nova Scotia. We really love blues here. Which of your guitars do you think you get the best tone from? I mean, look, that it doesn't really... You want to focus more on the amp more than the guitars. That's the way I always look at it. Like, you can get an inexpensive, say, Squier guitar or a SX guitar to sound killer through a great amp, providing you can kind of play okay. So I put more emphasis on buying an amp that really ticks the boxes over just buying lots of guitars. I think we've all gone through phases probably where we've bought more guitars than we need, or we might have one too many or whatever. And yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. I really feel like if I was to go back in time, I'd put more emphasis on buying great amps over buying another guitar. So in terms of the best tone, they're all good through good amps. That's pretty much how it is. Like, it doesn't matter what I play. They're all going to sound fairly similar as well. And someone was asking about my new Telecaster as well, which I'm absolutely loving that. That Tele's a beast. I played it last night as well. It's actually sitting out there. I might grab it a bit later. It's just sitting out in the gig bag still. Have you ever tried Lindy Fralin pickups? Not personally, no. A mate of mine's got a few sets of his pickups in different strats, and yeah, he loves them. So from what I've heard, they sound great, but he's also a killer player. And that's one of those things too. So I don't know, sometimes pickups can be a bit of a rabbit hole. There's one strat I tried all these different pickups in, and I still wasn't happy with it. And then, yeah, I always think if you hear a sound you really love, just go for that particular pickup. Don't buy like an alternative option to it. I was talking to Rick about this the other day. He was looking at getting some humbuckers for one of his other guitars, and he wants the Gibson sound, but he's looking at all these other brands. I'm like, don't waste your time. Just get the Gibson ones, because that's what you're looking for. Just don't go off onto another brand. So yeah, that's kind of like my 2 cents on that. Hey, Todd, thanks, man. Appreciate that. Best flanger pedal I've ever used. MXR make a couple of pretty good ones. I'm trying to think of what it's called. Maybe like, I know that's a phaser. Flanger. Wow, man. I'm gonna have to have a look, because I'm not 100% certain how many flanger pedals I've actually demoed. I haven't done one of those for a long time. Let me fire this list up here. 2 screens all over the place. I'm going to move this other one soon. Let's see if it allows me to do this while we're live streaming, or if it'll kill the stream. Here we go. Thanks for the super chat, by the way. All right, so the one that I can immediately say I think I enjoyed was the Boss Flanger, the BF2. I've only done 4 videos on flanger pedals. Actually 3, if you don't count one that I did 2 videos on. So, yeah, Joyo, I've done the Joyo Classic Flanger, the Boss BF2, and the this really cheap one called the Dafon E20FL, which weighs a ton. I would just go for the Boss. Yeah, flanger's not really a sound I've ever really used, unfortunately. Most of my stuff is like tremolos, and I also really enjoy that vibratone type of sound. So yeah, that's it. Out of 2,500 videos, there's 3 flanger pedals. So thanks again, man. Sorry about that. If you have any other questions, let us know. But that's yeah, unfortunately, I just don't. Flanger's not really a tone I use a lot of over the years. I'll tell you what I think gets the best tone, Shane, that Gibson Flying V, just my opinion. Thanks, man. Yeah, I appreciate that. That Flying V's really good. Like, it's the best humbucker guitar I have in terms of that just chirpiness, and everything about it's great. And it feels good to play, and it's cool. It's nice and light. Oh, what? We got someone doing some drilling outside. Awesome. Yeah, it's just a really good guitar. I think it just depends on like what mood I'm in when I want to play something, you know. So some days I want to play the Tele, like last night. Yeah, I'm lucky. I'm pretty fortunate right now. I do have a lot of guitars that I like the tone of, but I'm definitely going to be flipping a few coming up. I've already listed a couple that might shock you, but they're not getting used. So, and there'll be another video coming up about the purge, I guess, about getting rid of stuff, because it's starting to get kind of crazy. I got a lot of guitars that I keep just for the YouTube channel as well. A couple of inexpensive ones. Most of those Harley Bentons and so forth. I'm probably only going to keep 2 of those now. There's just too many taking up space and not getting used, unfortunately. So, yeah, I think we're going to get rid of a few of those. Hey, Landon, welcome, man. Yeah, the MXR flanger. That's maybe the one I was talking about. Yeah, there it is. The M117R. Thanks, Best of Backing Tracks. Thoughts on stacked P90s? That's another pickup I've never used personally. I know someone else who's had them, but I've never used them personally. He didn't like them. He said they sounded too muffled. So, basically a humbucker. Hey, Jamal, thanks, man. Far out. Says, thanks for all the content. I'm going to give my brother my Les Paul tribute. Oh, well done. Far out. That's nice of you, man. Far out. Really thinking of buying the new 60s or 50s standard. I'd love for you to review one. I trust your opinion. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I'll see what I can do. Yeah, where I borrow a lot of the guitars from here at Sky Music, they've got a lot of lefties that have just come in. I've actually got a review of an SG coming up and another Les Paul as well. That'll be coming up pretty soon. So, yeah, I'll see if they've got any others next time I'm down there. I haven't been down there for about a week or two, so I'll check it out. Thanks again, man. Far out. Oh, Krager. Thanks, man. Jeez. He says, hey, Shane, love your content. Are there any amps, effects, modeling software you like to use, like THU or Guitar Rig, etc.? Not really, no. I've tried them, and for whatever reason, I think it's because I've got an old workstation. Like I use Nuendo, which is really old, and they have my friend, another mate of mine, actually just got into the whole THU thing, and it didn't work with his older DAW software, so he got Reaper and it worked fine. So I think part of my problem was the fact that the software that I know really well is quite old, and it doesn't let you sort of chain the effects through in real time very well. I've tried bias effects, and that was okay, but it wasn't perfect. It seemed to lack a lot of stuff that I would want if I was to buy it. I probably need to reapproach that sort of software at some point, but for what I'm using right now, I got the 2 Notes Torpedo, and that gives me the sound of my amp while only replacing the speaker. So that's really cool, and then I can set the mics up within that. So you're replacing the mic and the speaker. It is more expensive, of course, but it's a piece of hardware. So if you've already got amps you love, in my opinion, that's the best option, because you can use all of your effects and all that kind of stuff as well. You won't have any problems there. The Kemper's probably still arguably, you know, I was lucky enough to have that as a gift, but yeah, that's probably the best kind of tool for home recording. But I haven't used a lot of that software. I love the tones Steve gets on his live streams and so forth. He's got it really dialed in beautifully, and I actually had a chance to play through that when I was hanging out with him one time, and it sounded unreal. Like, I was shocked at how great it sounded. So if you do go down the software route, make sure you get the latest sort of software that can complement it. I mean, you can play in real time into your sound card and hear it back with a lot of these plugins too. But some you need to sort of chain it a specific way if you want to record, and it can get kind of technically challenging for a lot of people. And it also depends on, yeah, I would look at not only the investment in the software, but having to buy something new to record with, like Reaper or something like that. So feel free to send those guitars out my way for free. I'll tell you what, that Harley Benton one that that one that turned up damaged, I don't know if I mentioned this in the video, but it came in 2 boxes, right? It didn't just come in that one. The outer box was perfect, Like there was a bigger outer box that little one was in, and there was padding and all kinds of stuff in there. So that guitar, I was having a chat to Rick about like how to fix some of those issues, and minus maybe the tuning peg. So we might put a series of videos together. That was actually a suggestion on the video I released about it, saying, hey, you should fix it up and donate it. So it's probably on the cards. I think that'd be really cool. Sad to see the ES335 go. Yeah, that's going to go. I got a guy who gave me an offer on it today. We'll see if he comes back. I counter offered him slightly, so we'll see. Just yeah, certain guitars now I'm just don't love playing for one way or another, and I'm not using them live. So I really want to cut my rig down to the stuff I'm using live, and a couple of guitars just for the YouTube channel. Like I'm going to keep the Harley Benton single cut. I'll keep that PRS one that they've got as well, and probably the T52, and probably the rest of them will go. I've kept them because the variation's good. Sometimes you go, yeah, that guitar would really suit something, and but I think I've pretty much got most of that covered now. Hey Jerry, thanks man. Far out. Sorry if I missed that before. I really enjoy your reviews and honesty. FYI, Grammys are on. Grammys. Thanks man. Where was that message? Oh, I must have missed it. Far out. Or is it below where I'm at here? All right, thanks. Yeah, I'm a little behind the chat. Krager, thanks again, man. Far out. Thanks for the response. I have a Blues Deluxe with a Swamp Thing. I was looking for a silent recording thing too. By the way, I got it due to your vids. Oh, I hope you like it. I mean, that Swamp Thing is just a great match for that amp. It turns it into a beast, an absolute beast. It's got more of everything. You have to EQ the amp differently to how it would be if you were just using the stock speaker. But once you get that done, man, it's a great upgrade. So I'm glad you're loving it. I've put a website together at guitarspeakerguide.com, which is literally a speaker-only website. Like, what's a good speaker for that? What's the rating of this speaker? All those kind of things. So, yeah, if you're into like upgrading, or if you're thinking about modding an amp, I've done all kinds of posts about different brands and all that. Give it a look, because yeah, there's heaps of cool stuff on there that will give you like my opinion on what's the best speaker upgrade for a particular amplifier and why. Hey, Bearded Blues Dude, welcome, man. $92 watching, only 33 thumbs up. Thanks, Jamal. Far out. We've got 93 people here. I wasn't even... So I had a late start this morning. You probably hear it in my voice. I'm like, oh, still a bit husky from last night. We ran the Blues Jam, and yeah, it was a good night. We had yeah, it was one of those... The Blues Jams are one of those funny things, and they can go any way that the universe wants them to go. They can go great, or they can be terrible, or they can be just the same old, same old. And last night was pretty good. We had a good time, so ended up staying late. And yeah, I can highly encourage anyone who's thinking about going to play live just to get out there and do it, because you know, you meet a lot of cool and interesting folks at the Blues Jams as well. And some of the guys I first met at the first Blues Jam I ever went to, I'm still friends with 20 years later. So Jay says, hey Shane, what can you say about the Blues Deluxe versus a 6V6 amp like the Deluxe Reverb? Especially with the natural tube saturation and compression. So if you want a clean headroom amplifier, the Blues Deluxe just has way more of that. It's going to stay louder and cleaner longer. You're also going to be able to, or you're also, what's the way to put it? Like a Blues Deluxe won't, if you push a Blues Deluxe with, say, a volume boost, it's going to get a lot louder. Whereas if you do the same thing with a Deluxe Reverb, it's just going to get saturated after you have the volume up a little bit. There's not a lot of high headroom in the Blues Deluxe, in the Deluxe Reverb. And that's one of those things that, I've owned 2 Deluxe Reverbs, and the reason I went back to the Blues Deluxe was for that reason. It was just louder and fuller sounding. And that's the main thing. You're buying an amp that has it's like a Fender Twin in some ways. You know, you get that big clean sound, but a Fender Blues Deluxe will still break up. It's not like a Twin in that regard, but it will handle pedals better. It's a better pedal platform in my opinion. If you're playing gigs though that you don't have to be at 115 decibels, then the Deluxe Reverb, far out, I always get these confused, is a much better option for that. They're a great pedal amp as well, but you'll find that you won't get that big clean round sound. It will get dirty quickly. So yeah, after owning both and comparing them both, for what I was going through at that time, I said, yeah, I'm going to stick with the 6V6 because it's got a lot more attitude and the note sounds bigger, whereas you get more of like a focused and less bassy sound. It's still got a lot of bass, but it's a different kind of, there's less clarity on the note with a 6V6 amp. So yeah, 6L6 are probably the way to go if you have to be loud. The headroom's crazy good. It sounds like a dumb question. What kind of ring lights do you use? You have a beautiful setup for this in your podcast. So right now I'm just using a light box. I can't really move my webcam. Oh, I probably can, but getting it back, it was hard to balance. I don't want to move it too much, but I use a couple of ring lights in the other room. I've got another channel, right, which is it's starting to get traction. It's called Geeky Nerdy Techie, and I did the review of the ring lights on there. They're called UB size, I think. They're like $30 or $20. They're really good. But in here, I use 2 softbox lamps, which have like 5 bulbs in them, and you can turn a combination of them on and off. I've got 2 of them on just one of them at the moment. The other one's completely off, and I've had these for probably. I don't know. It must be a while now. Maybe 10 years. Had them for a long time. But if you're going to buy lights, don't buy like a halogen bulb. Just buy something that has either LEDs or the other type of the power saving bulbs, because they'll cost you a fortune otherwise. The halogens are too hot and they're way too bright, and they stink because you have to kind of like burn out the shield behind it. And they're terrible. Just scroll down here. Funny you say that about the SGs. I'm eyeballing one of the new tribute models since they have the maple necks. Yeah, look, it's just a personal thing. I've never really been into the visual of the SG that much. I've owned one, and I really hate the fact they're really neck heavy as well. That just has always concerned me with guitars. I don't know why they don't counterbalance the bodies a little more. Let me just scroll down here. Sorry, guys. Chat must have scrolled back up. Let me just. Here we go. Hockey. Sorry, man. Yeah, the Hockey. Sorry. Thoughts on the Seymour Duncan Palladium gain stage? I don't think I've actually heard that, man. Let me have a look at this online as well. I lose track of stuff sometimes when it comes to all the different. Have a look at this. Oh, I've seen this pedal pop up, but I haven't actually heard. That's not going to help you, man. But I haven't actually heard it. So, yeah, Seymour Duncan make pretty cool stuff. I don't know whether or not that's something that I would put. I don't know. I haven't used it, so I haven't actually heard it. But I've seen pictures of this pop up. It looks cool. But yeah, dude, I'm sorry about that. You did a super chat, and I have no answer for you with that one. So, yeah, it's not something that I've had a chance to use. So you say, I play a lot of gritty rock with high gain in the mix. Rock on. Thanks, man. So I think with any of these pedals, right, my suggestion always is to find someone who, on YouTube or wherever, who plays the same sort of style or similar style to you. And if they've done a video on it and you dig their tone and you like their setup, then that's going to be a fine choice. You'll probably find like anything you buy will always sound a little bit different to how you hear it in videos and what the expectation of it is. And that's just one of those things, you're hearing an amp in a room as opposed to a close mic or whatever the situation is for whoever's doing the video. So yeah, if you can get an approximation of it and you think, yeah, this is cool, then that's probably all you need. It's a really subjective thing. So, and you just got to sort of trust your instincts with what you like the sound of, and yeah, almost forget what other people think. It really helps when it comes to picking gear. Oh yeah, so Krager, sorry man, he was talking about the Blues Deluxe and the Swamp Thing. With the silent recording option, just get the 2 notes torpedo. That's going to be the easiest way to get a great sound. Since they've updated the firmware of that thing, it's even better. I think it almost sounds better than the Kemper, which will be an interesting comparison coming up. And you can just plug that, unplug the speaker from the Blues Deluxe with it off to begin with, plug it in, takes the load of the amp, and then you can get like a Swamp Thing IR, and that's what I use, and it sounds amazing. There's probably other options now as well, all these different versions of the 2 notes torpedo, but they're hard to beat. They really are. John says the FLT90 had a trashed outer box, but the inner and guitar box were fine. Yeah, I don't know. Mine was the opposite. So the inside box was trashed, but the outside box was fine. So that's why I thought it must have been done prior to being put in the box. Thoughts on the Fender Play Series Tele? Yeah, I spoke about them before. I think they're great. For what you get, you're not going to have any problems with those at all. If you like the feel of the neck and the sound of it, they're going to be a great option. You can, of course, upgrade the Tele, much like the Strat also, but if you choose to. But I haven't upgraded this. There's nothing I've done to this at all. I've got to replace this switch. It's actually getting to the point where there's like no tension on it. I'm going to see if I can fix it without having to take off, or without having to sort of replace the switch completely, but we'll see how we go with that. But yeah, the only thing sometimes they skimp on with the like made in Mexico stuff is the hardware can be not quite as good, but you know, I've had guitars for years without any problems. So Todd says, I have an Epiphone Casino coming from Southpaw next week. I've grown tired of waiting for the local distributor to bring them in. Oh, awesome. You know, Jimmy actually sent me a message, the guy that owns that shop. He's like, hey, I got these in. I'm like, oh. So, yeah, I've been emailing him back and forth. They're super cool, man. I always liked the idea of those Epiphone Casinos. A mate of mine had one years ago, and they're some of the best blues tone I've ever heard. They're just so good. But I want to actually play one first. I don't like buying guitars I haven't played. I know I'm just fussy enough to not want to. There could be something that could ruin that for me if it turned up. Not like a ding or something. That's different. But like if the neck doesn't feel right, or it doesn't, you know, there's variables that could ruin it for me. So yeah, I'm dying to try one of those in person. I'll be interested to see what you think of it as well. Yeah, they're I think he's also got the USA made ones coming in Lefty as well. So check those out. He said you got probably the Japanese ones coming in. Yeah, I haven't watched TV in ages. You know, someone just said people still watch the Grammys. I don't even. I'm so oblivious. Yeah, I'd be lucky to watch. If I watch 1 hour of TV a month, I'd be surprised. I watch enough YouTube to keep the fix going, but yeah, I just don't watch television anymore. I can't get into it. The ads kind of ruin it for me. You should add the red, white, and blues to that website. Amazing speaker. Yeah, it's listed in there quite a bit actually. So depending on what amp you search for and all that kind of stuff, it's a really great speaker. One of the most sort of like underrated ones. A lot of people don't talk about that one a whole lot. A friend of mine's got one. He had it in his Blues Deluxe. He's had it in what was the other amp he had it in? He had it in, I think, his Peavey as well. It's awesome, man. Great speaker. Oh, there we go. Todd says, I have the, is it, I don't know how to say it, Palladium? Is that how you say it? Great pedal, has a boost function that cracks the mid-range. There we go. Cool. Cranks. There we go. Cranks. I was like, cracks the mid-range. I was like, well, yeah, all right, there we go. We've got Jack the Rabbit here, mate. Welcome. Stop No Name says the jam was well run. Thanks, mate. Made all the difference. Cheers. I think the trick with the jams is, as much as I usually don't enjoy running them, it was actually pretty fun last night. And yeah, it's just about giving everyone a go. That's what it comes down to in the end, and being on top of making sure everyone gets a second play or whatever it is. Yeah, because there's always someone that goes home unhappy from jams. It's just the way that it is. It's so yeah, I always just try to give everyone a good go. More metal. More metals. Yeah, all right. That I think I ended up throwing out that. Once I moved, I threw out that wig because it was just like falling apart and there was like nylon just everywhere. So I flipped it, but I'll see what I can do. We might do another video coming up. Ever tested or tried a multi-effects board live? If so, what? How was it versus usual setup? I have. I've used the one of the more was it the G200s? I've tried the Kemper Live, and I've tried the Line 6 Helix. Line 6 Helix was probably the easiest one to sort of tinker with on the fly. Kemper was one of the hardest ones to tinker. Problem with the Kemper, right? Like, it doesn't face, like, not my one anyway. I got one that is a rack unit. So when you're standing up and it's on the ground, or where there's the only place I could put it, you can't see anything on the dials. Like, you're looking down at the screen and you can't see anything. So usability, that wasn't very good. But tone-wise, it sounded awesome. The Helix sounded probably the closest thing to what would be a normal rig, and that wasn't mine. That was Dr. Rick's one, and yeah, it was good. I thought it sounded okay, you know, for what it was. The head rush as well, I've heard that a whole lot of times at the jam, and that could go either way. It can either sound the best I've ever heard or terrible when it doesn't work right. Same with all these things. Like when I used the Moore G200, like I had it set up so I had 4 different patches or something like that. So one was clean, one was a bit off clean with some delay, one was like a lead tone, and then one was like a high gain tone with more volume. So it's stepped up incrementally in volume and in gain. And I think that's the easiest way to run it when you play live, because you don't have to sit there and fiddle with it. But if you play through different PA systems, you're going to need to fiddle with it. Unfortunately, that's the limitation of these things. They're great in a studio situation where you plug it into the studio monitors, or if you do the same gig a lot and you're always using the same PA system, then they're fine too. But yeah, they're not a replacement, in my opinion, for an actual amp. They are when you can't have an actual amp in the room, but not when you have the option to. I would still take an amp any day of the week. I still think those units are good for what they are, but yeah, they're not. It's not something that I'd choose to take over an amp. You get a whole different sense of feel when you're hearing the sound above your head as opposed to behind you. It's a different experience. Beastie Boys. There we go. There's a name I haven't heard for a while. Any Beastie Boys fans? I still like their stuff. They're great. Hey, Shane, do you browse Gumtree much for deals? Yeah, I've been known to do that from time to time. I keep an eye on that sort of stuff sometimes. If I'm in a place where I'm like, oh, I wouldn't mind checking out a guitar or something like that or something different, I'll look and I'll get on there. I've got a couple of guitars listed on there at the moment. And there'll be more on there coming up, but I don't like to list too much of the stuff all at once, so I'll sort of space it out. But yeah, Gumtree, for those who don't know, if you live overseas, is like a Craigslist kind of thing, but it's the user interface is heaps better. It's now owned by eBay, unfortunately, so I wouldn't be surprised whether or not they start charging for it at some point. But yeah, it's a good website. The only problem I have with it as a seller, when I'm selling anything, excuse me, sorry guys, is you get a lot of spam. There's a lot of spam accounts that they're bots, and you get the same message over and over. As soon as you list something, you get 3 messages from spam bots. So hopefully they have that fixed. But in terms of just looking for stuff, yeah, if I really need something, like if I'm looking for like a lens for a camera, I'll generally look there first, because you can get, used stuff just so much cheaper than new stuff. And if you could get someone who has taken care of their gear, it's awesome. Like I bought my bass guitar off there, and it was essentially brand new. It was awesome. Can you put the other channel link? I'm not sure which one you're referring to. If you mean my tech channel, just type in Geeky Nerdy Techie. It'll come up. It's a stupid name, but it's got a ring to it. Thanks, Peter. Appreciate that, mate. Where was that question here? Are the bass breakers same as basement amps, or are they tube amps? So the bass breakers are tube amps, but they're a different voicing completely to... Well, they're not a different voicing completely. They're like a different configuration to a basement. So traditional basement is a valve amp, and you also get the 410s, 410-inch speakers. The bass breakers don't have that combination. So you're buying like a 212, a single 12. There's ones with like a 10. But then there's also mods to them as well. Like the 30R is my favorite. It's got reverb. It's got the best gain stage I think Fender ever made. The clean channel's really good. They're light enough to easily pick up and move. But yeah, they're just a different sort of, they're like some of them are like an old design, there's certain mods that have been made to them as well. So yeah, I just recommend playing amps and seeing if you like it. That's the best way to go. But for what I would buy if I was to buy a Bassman, I don't trust the reliability of a lot of them. I think they've had so many quality control issues with a lot of them. The 30R, from my experience, feels like a better amp, and that little 15, the 15's a really good one too. I wouldn't buy the 212. I would buy something else if that's the one you're looking for, just from what I've seen from quality control issues. Have you ever played the Vox Pathfinder 15R? It looks like a poor man's AC30. I have. It's a great little amp. It's one of the best little practice amps you can get, in my opinion. 15Rs are the little amps. They're about this big. They've got a reverb circuit. They're unreal. And I've also heard one of those power a 2x12 box, and it sounded unreal. So yeah, give it a go. Was the jam last night? It was. Yeah, it was a good night last night. We had good fun. I got a couple of clips with my little camera last night too, so I'll see if there's any good playing, and if there is, I'll load something up. Hey, Jamal's off work. What's going on? Yeah, congrats. Terry, welcome, man. Yeah, he says congrats. That's funny. I always feel bad for In the Blues on these live shows. Spends so much time with a guitar in his hands answering questions. That's the whole idea of these, man. They're not, I do these just to have a chat with everybody, and I add the guitar just in case I'm reading comments. It's good filler. looks like everyone got sick from NAMM, which was interesting. So many people just get that bloody, that horrible NAMM thrax they're calling it now. So this month on the channel too, I just mentioned what's going on. I've got basically 2 videos going up until, we're almost finished through the month now. I think even next month I've got a video going up early in the week and one on the weekend. One's going to be like a video about a piece of gear, and the other video is going to be something a little bit different. So I found there's a bit more interest in those kind of, slightly different videos. So I planned a few more, and there'll be more of those going up. I think maybe mid-Feb I'll have probably a 3rd video going up again every week. But yeah, I'm working on a few other things at the moment. If you just don't join the live stream, I'm going to have an announcement video coming up in the next probably 2 weeks or something, maybe a week, about what I'm doing in the last half of this year. So I'm hoping it's fun for everybody, because I'm sure it'll be fun for me. I think the worst case scenario with this is I'm going to have a great time. And then if the videos go over well or not, it's sort of like, it almost doesn't matter. I think it's going to be a whole lot of fun. So once I confirm the last part of this, I'll be able to share it with you. I just don't want to say, oh, I'm doing this, and this, and then 3 things don't work out. So I've just got to, I'm waiting on a couple of return emails and a few messages, and we should be in business. So yeah, I can't wait to share this with you. Did I end up sorting out the Harley Benton Les Paul? Not yet, no. So for those who have just joined, I mentioned earlier, I didn't just ship in that box, right? Thomann ship it in a larger outer box. So that outer box was fine. The inside box was ruined. And there was padding and foam and packaging inside the larger box around that. So I'm not sure how that happened. I think what I'm going to do is try to fix it or make it better, and then I'll probably end up doing a video about how I fixed it, a review about how it sounds, because obviously you didn't hear it, and then I'll donate it. I'll just give it away to someone who needs it, maybe someone affected by the bushfires or something. So yeah, look, I'm not exactly sure how that'll play out yet, but rather than go through the process of having to return it, because I think my problem was I just felt like I always try to give people my experience with stuff, and as a content creator, a lot of people think we get the best stuff all of the time, and that's something I see all the time. Oh, I bought a Harley Benton and it was no good, and you guys only get the good stuff, right? So the reason I want to share that video was because that was my experience with a guitar that it was flawed. It was really, really flawed. And it shows both sides of that coin rather than just, oh, this is great, because there's only... I'm sure and if you check the comments, there's a lot of people who can relate to having a guitar ordered online that wasn't perfect, right? And it shows that there's like an honesty with how things come in, like it's not just all out. We just don't get the best stuff. So, yeah, and while a lot of people are saying, oh, you didn't pay for it, you shouldn't be complaining about it. It's like, well, I'm complaining about it if you had have purchased it. If I had bought that guitar, I would have been way more angry than having something turn up for free, right? Like I said that in the video as well. Like if I bought this and it turned up like this, I'd be devastated. I had to spend $100 to send it back, or however much it costs. So yeah, I think it's a balanced thing. You don't want to, you want to share the good and the bad, and that to me wasn't up to even the standards I would expect from any guitar manufacturer. So while you can get duds, and that's expected when you produce a whole lot of guitars, that was by far the worst guitar I've ever seen from them, especially having the tuners not aligned properly, and it's like no one tried. It's like someone just threw it across the room into a box and then they shipped that out in a really nice box. That's kind of how it felt, having all those chips and cracks on the headstock up here and in the finish, not actual cracks in the wood, but you could feel it, like it wasn't right. It felt like someone had put super glue on the back of the neck, or crazy glue, whatever you call it overseas, and it had dried. It was like not right. So yeah, you know, I got to share the good and the bad, and that's why that video went up. But yeah, I had a problem with my sound card too, so I was like, oh, I just want to get rid of this thing. But I'll probably still do a video on it, but it'll, you know, obviously reference the process getting it right. So yeah, anyway, so that's the long answer. Hey, Matty K, thanks, man. Far out. Just a shout out. Great to catch you live, mate. Keep on rocking. Thanks, I appreciate that. And yeah, hope you're doing well. It's been a while since I did a live stream. Must be close to a month. I've got good news too. I found out just yesterday that the internet where I live will be upgraded in the next 2 months. At least that's the tentative date. So I'll have 40 meg up, I'm pretty sure, which will be unbelievable. So I can go back to my good streaming rig. If it all works, I'll be able to get, I'll be able to stream from my proper camera instead of the webcam again, like I was doing at my old place. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. It'll mean uploading videos will take, you know, 40 times less amount of time. It'll be 40 times quicker. So yeah, I can't wait for that. It'll be like transferring a file across the network. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That doesn't mean I'm going to be live streaming all the time, but it's going to be a workflow addition that I'm looking forward to. And that's probably nothing in comparison to other parts of the world, but I'm happy with that. Let us know in the chat too what you'd like to see from the channel, because I always like seeing what people are interested in the most when it comes to the stuff I produce. I know I haven't done a lot of Guitar Search Saturday videos since, I don't know, a while now anyway, but I got a whole lot of them coming up later on. So yeah, let us know what you like, guitars. The pedal thing is pretty much redundant. You know, I did a few more pedal videos, and some of them got viewed actually, like the Dumble pedal did really well, and the Jux one did really well, but yeah, it sort of feels like that's coming to the end of that. It just doesn't really do anything to the channel positively. So did I catch the NAMM coverage? What do you think of this Silver Sky Nebula? I watched only a handful of videos from NAMM. I wasn't really, yeah, I don't like getting on the hype train with stuff when it comes to gear, unless it's a lefty that I haven't seen before, or yeah, there's not a lot of stuff that really makes me go, oh yeah, I really want to sort of, I don't know, I always feel like there's this hype about next year's guitars always being better than the current year's guitar, and I don't get into that. I don't think that's the case. You know, in terms of visuals, it looks really cool. It looks interesting. It's got like a blue and like a metallic finish through it. So yeah, it looks good. I mean, I'm not against the Silver Sky thing. I think it's a good addition to, Strat's always a good addition to any manufacturer's guitar lineup. But yeah, look, I haven't I haven't seen it in person, but it looks cool. How are the fires lately? I think it's still pretty bad in some areas here. Where I'm at, the worst I got, or the worst our whole state got, was, well, there were a couple of fires locally, but nothing like what's going on above us further out of Melbourne. But yeah, the smoke here was crazy. It was so thick. You know, I posted a couple of photos on Instagram, and also on the YouTube feed, and it was like, where you could see for infinity almost, you know, it was like you couldn't see anything. You know, even a mountain that was a kilometre away was covered. It was crazy. It was the thickest smoke. The funny thing is, though, you couldn't really smell it, but it was everywhere. It looked like the thickest mist you've ever seen, you know, like, or driving through fog or something. It was like that in the daytime. I remember it was like 4 p.m. and I'm looking up and you could see the sun, and it was just like an orange dot. It wasn't like, you know, obviously I had sunglasses and stuff on too, and I don't recommend looking at the sun, but it was so dim it was kind of freaky. So, yeah, look, obviously it's way worse for people in actually affected areas, and I'm not affected by it locally, thankfully. But yeah, it's pretty crazy. I think it's probably the worst fires we may have ever had. I don't know about that, but it seems like it could be. I don't ever remember fires causing so much smoke where, so far away. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. Hey, Doug, thanks, man. Far out. Appreciate you like your little emoticon thing there. That's like a pear with a headband on. Thanks, mate. I appreciate that. Far out. This is crazy. Thanks for the support, guys. I appreciate it. Even if you just watch the videos and give them a thumbs up, that's all I appreciate that as well. Yeah, look, I don't know how much someone, I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, Cosmike or something, says $100 Australian, ouch, that's going to hurt. So that's for shipping. Yeah, I don't know how much a big box like that's going to cost to ship overseas, but odds are it's going to be pretty pricey. If you were to repack it in the original box, the original box is huge. It's not that little one that it just came in, so that's the internal one. I would assume it's probably going to be way more expensive than that. And this is the problem. Like, it ends up balancing itself out, if you know what I mean. Like, you buy a guitar, say a couple $100. Say it costs you $250 and it's going to cost you $150 to send back. Like, I think that's it's probably not worth sending back. And I feel almost like that they need to have some sort of insurance thing for this exact thing. Like, I almost recommend doing this anytime you buy a guitar online, right? I don't care who you buy it from. Put your phone up and film you unboxing it from scratch in case something goes wrong. Yeah, because I kind of feel like that's your get out of jail free card, because they might go, oh, you might have dropped it. I'm not saying they would do that, right? But it's probably a great idea to have a video rolling anytime you unpack a new guitar, because if something's not right and you can prove the box is fine, but the guitar's not, then they might have something. You might be able to have some sort of recourse, but you would assume there'd be some sort of insurance to cover this. But yeah, to have to ship it back, man, it's pretty. It's going to be pretty expensive because it weighs a ton. In terms of once you box it up. I think that's why I decided to give my brother my Les Paul as opposed to give him the Harley Benton. I want his first guitar to be a positive experience. Well, fair enough. Oh, 3 weeks ago I did a live stream. Okay, cool. I can't remember. I'm only going by memory. I don't remember last time, but must be getting close to 4 weeks. I have a sneaking suspicion there is zero quality control going on at Thoman's warehouse. They probably rely on the manufacturer QC, which explains why you get the guitars with manufacturing defects from them. Yeah, probably. You could be right. I don't expect them to, like most companies, to go over everything. Especially, they'd be going over all their higher end guitars and sort of like the stuff like this, for example, just the standard Strats and whatever else. But yeah, when it comes to mass-produced sort of inexpensive guitars, it's probably, I don't know, might not be worth their time to go through it. You would think you probably would, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. Look, it could have just been that the guitar had fallen, this way in the box inside the outer box, and something happened to it like that. But they look like stress marks and cracks that. It's hard to explain because the bottom part of the box had the hole in it from the actual tuning peg. What's it called? The strap lock peg. Strap peg. What do they call these things? The pin. Yeah, dug through the box. So yeah, I don't know how it happened. It's just a strange situation because, like I said, the outer box was fine. So I don't know. Yeah, not interested in any more Harley Benton. Yeah, well, that's pretty much it. I feel like that guitar is probably the last one I'm going to review for a while. We actually sent a couple of bass guitars out as well, and they were fine. But at least I hope they're fine. I haven't actually opened them properly, but I had a quick look and they looked okay. So yeah, I'm going to put together a different video about those. Maybe put them in like a studio situation, do some recording or something. But yeah, I think I'm pretty much done with them from now on. I not because of that last one, but I feel like enough's enough. So yeah, well, as much as I appreciate getting stuff sent out and companies wanting to, you know, send out a guitar for a video, I feel like I'm pretty much done with them from now on as well, or for at least a little while. I might give it 6 months. If they're interested, I'll do something down the line. But a break from the brand is probably a good thing. You don't want to go too overboard with, you know, anything, I guess. Guitar Swap Sundays. Afraid to ask where the Guitar Search Saturday videos went. The only reason I haven't done them is because I've done most of the shops locally that I wanted to do. There's a few, actually, I'll tell you what, there's one more that's coming up that I've spoken to the manager of it, and he's oh, sorry, my headphone's gone funny. Hopefully the mic's okay. Oh yeah, it's just this. Hopefully I get to shoot that next week, and then oh, what's with my headphones here? Can you hear me okay still? Hopefully it's all right. I think it's just the join. I'm using these dodgy headphones here. Yeah, so there's going to be one more coming up in the next month or so, and I've got something that's going to make these videos look amazing. So I've got a gimbal, right? Like I shoot videos for other people as well, and I've got a professional gimbal that I can use with my my proper cameras wherever they are. And I recently just got a GoPro Hero 8, which is a little action camera, and it can shoot without the fisheye thing, right? So it looks like a normal camera. And as you walk with this thing, it looks as smooth as a gimbal, like with a proper camera on the end of it. The picture quality isn't going to be quite as good, right? But in terms of just stabilization, it's phenomenal. So I'm going to take that and do a walk around with it, as well as have my actual production camera with me, because I feel like between them both, I should be getting some pretty epic results. So there will be one more local one if it all works out. I actually know the manager. I met him years ago, and yeah, he's pretty keen on having me in. So yeah, so here we go. Here's a great point. Dalboy T says, one of the things I like about artist guitars is their free shipping and their returns policy is awesome. Absolutely. Yeah. So if you don't like it, you send it back and you get your money back. And they pay to have it returned, I'm pretty sure, or something like that too. So I could be wrong about that, but I think that's how that works. So I got this back just the other day. This is the Little Crow Raven, and I had some mods done to this, just some simple ones. It had this Peter Green effect that where if you're on both pickups, it would sort of change the phasing. And then it had a push-pull pot thing. So it was all getting a little bit, it wasn't getting confusing, but I preferred just a straight up regular three-way toggle switch, because I don't like having to push-pull stuff a whole lot. And it's made the pickups sound really, really bright and voicey, man. I really dig it. Like, it's just been sitting out for the last day and a half. So I'll just give it a quick tune here. This guitar's awesome. So now I've got also locking tuners on the back of the headstock. So yeah, this is pretty much going to make my Tokai Love Rock redundant. I think it's lighter and it just sounds great. I have any inside info about the TC multi effects? I don't. No. I don't ever sign like NDAs, non-disclosure agreements. I'm like, you either want to tell me what the product is and I'll make a decision whether or not I want to actually do something with it, or so no, I don't ever I don't sign for any of that stuff. I don't know, some companies make YouTubers sign crap. I don't get involved in any of it. It's either you're interested in me working with you or you're not. I don't get into any of that stuff, so no, I don't have any info. Comparison videos, cool. Well, I'll tell you what, speaking of comparison videos, I have a bit of a blind test coming up. I haven't done one for a long time when it comes to, you know, picking the more expensive one over the less expensive one, and I think that'll be fun. I think it'll be fun. It's it's pretty eye-opening. So I actually need to upload that. I had to reinstall my Mac OS the other day for my editing computer, but I rendered the video out. I had a glitch with my Final Cut was spazzing out. So I'll get that up online. I may even upload it this week because it's a fun little test, and I think it may surprise a few of you. And at the end of the video, I tell you which one's which. I don't just leave you hanging. Let me scroll down here. Sorry, I'm a little bit behind the messages. Let me just catch up. Sorry if I missed your question. Just feel free to ask it again, guys. I'm like 3 pages from the end of the chat, so I'll start from the bottom and feel free to ask it again. Paul says, I love the Guitar Search Saturdays in the shops in Melbourne. Helps with my planning a visit to Melbourne and get my gas fix. Cool. So without giving my idea away, there's going to be way more places you'll be able to see what the shops are like. Let's just leave it at that. Thanks, man. The Guitar Search Saturday videos are like the longest videos I make for this channel. They require not only the time on going to the place, which I don't mind doing. I love getting out of the house. Excuse me. But the editing it's pretty brutal. So this new plan I have for those videos will be slightly different. It'll still be the same sort of video, like it'll be the same vid, but I've got a couple of other things I want to add to them, which I never thought about up until about 3 days ago. I was like, oh, I should do this with these videos as well. So there's going to be a couple of additions to them that should make them more interesting as well, and also hopefully a bit more fun. So yeah, this next series of them, it won't be like the next one, I don't think, but the next video I release of Guitar Search Saturdays, but the future ones will be they'll have more stuff added to them. So the production time's still going to be long, but I think it's going to be a bit more fun. So anyway, I'll leave it at that. We'll see how we go. Artist guitars are doing nice stuff at the moment. Bought a couple of them last year. Good for the price. Haven't felt the need to buy one from overseas. Yeah, well, that's it. I said on a video a while back, I think Artist guitars is kind of like Australia's answer, and New Zealand's to Harley Benton. They're very similar guitar. But comparing the latest TC59, was it TC59 from Artist guitars versus the Harley Benton that turned up, the Artist guitar wiped the floor with it. It was 2 completely different guitars, you know. But the funny thing is, right, not all of the Artist guitars have been perfect. There was a couple of manufacturing issues with one run of Les Pauls they had, and they weren't good. But that said, the Harley Benton with the single P90 back there is like one of the nicest guitars I've ever picked up. Like it's flawless, and for the price, it's unbelievable. It really is good. So that's why I also wanted to release that video, because I always thought the people that were promoting Harley Benton were either paid to say positive things, or they were in with the company. And a few of them are, right? There are a few YouTubers that do work for those companies, but I don't get paid for my videos. I tell you how it is. And with these guitars, I was like, man, these are actually really good. Like I'm shocked they're so good. But the other side of that coin is you see some comments, people are like, oh, mine wasn't that good. And now I totally get it, because one of mine, or one of the ones that turned up, wasn't anywhere near as good. They're like, it had been beat up before it got shipped by the looks of it. So, yeah, anyway. What's my top 3 amps to play live? That's from Michael. Welcome, man. So, right now, the Artist Tweed Tone 20 would be my favorite small valve combo. I like the Marshall DSL 40 CR as my all-time like go-to amp right now. I just think this thing's great. But the Fender Tone Master Twin's the one I'm playing the most, because it's light, it's loud, it's unreal. You know, it filled the room last night on 40 watts. It was epic. So, you know, I've been playing my Fender Blues Deluxe more than I've been playing this. So they're really the only amps that I've got that I take out and play live. It's one of those 4. It just depends on if I'm playing. You know, I think the Marshall sounds best with humbuckers of any description. If I'm playing the Flying V, this, or if I'm playing the PR, did I say the PRS already? Yeah, but any of those sort of like, you know, Les Paul style guitars, the Marshall's probably the best amp for that. But if I'm playing a Strat or a Tele, the Fender amp's pretty hard to beat, right? Whether it's the Twin or the Blues Deluxe. So they're my 4. I know you wanted 3, but right now the one I'm playing the most is the Tone Master, because it's super light. I love that about it. It really is good. And because it doesn't break up, you can't get it to clip unless you really have it on a low power attenuation. Then you crank the volume, but I don't really like that. I like it big, clean sound for pedals, and it's awesome. Hey, Guitar Hack, welcome, man. I gig every weekend, country, blues, classic rock stuff. What tube amp would you recommend for $500? Well, I don't know where $500 is, because everyone is in different locations around the world. But if you want to be like, there's a couple of amps I recommend. Well, I'm going to say $500 here doesn't buy you a lot, right? The only amp I'd recommend for $500 is probably the Artist Tweed Tone. If you live overseas, $500 probably get you a Hot Rod Deluxe. That would be a great choice, because you can run your pedals into that. And for the kind of stuff you're talking about, that would be a good choice. Even get a Marshall. You know, you might be able to pick up a second-hand Marshall DSL. That will do pretty much everything on that list. The clean channel's good. You could also, I think, see if you're playing country or country blues. So, or if you, yeah, that's the funny thing. Let me know what guitar you're playing too, because if you're playing a Tele, you could even get something like a Vox. But yeah, there's plenty of good options out there. I just need to know more. These sort of open-ended questions about, like, you know, what should I buy? So there's other factors. How loud do you need to be? You know, PV Classic 30 is a good all-round little amp too. So if you can find an old US-made one of those, you should be able to get some pretty good tones out of them. But yeah, it just depends on where you live, man. It's hard to know. I finally played a DSL 40CR recently, man. What a monster amp. Even at lower volumes, it sounds great. I prefer it over the Origin now. Yeah, me too. I remember when I got mine, I said this a few times, that everyone's like, buy the Origin, they're coming out, it's going to be the best amp ever. I'm like, nah, I like what I'm hearing out of mine. And everyone got on that NAMM hype train saying, oh, these are going to be the best amps ever. And I reckon the Marshall DSL eats it alive. So I'm glad to hear that from someone else. That's from Overview Effect. Thanks. I think the Origin 50 is a good amp, and the head is also really good. But I wasn't a big fan of the rest of those. Peter Schmidt says, I got one of those problem Artist LP59s, but got it for $200 in the end. Yeah, so they did discount. That's a good deal. It needed repairs, fret level, setup, but worth 2 hours of work. Well, if you know how to do that stuff, it's absolutely worth fixing up. For $200, it's a deal. Jack, oh, sorry, did I miss a message here? Sorry, if someone says, I think he wants to hear from Shane, just at intheblues me again, and I'll check it out. Sorry if I missed the question. Yeah, Blues Junior is a good choice too, actually. There you go. That will do a lot of stuff. It just, Blues Juniors don't have as much clean headroom as some people would like. They're pretty loud though. Like the new Blues Junior 4s with the upgraded Celestion speaker, probably the best they've ever sounded. I reckon they're really good. Couldn't get the artist links to work yesterday. Are they still valid? I don't think so. They're having severe issues with that company that provides the links, so they're going to probably not work, unfortunately. It's, I've complained about it, but they don't. Yeah, I think they're moving companies pretty soon because those links are garbage. It's good to know. I've let them know about that. Marshall Vintage Modern Amp is awesome, well worth the money. Yeah, they make some good stuff, Marshall. You know, like I tested their JCM 800 out. I loved it. That Studio Classic head. Man. I don't have any speaker boxes anymore either, right? So I had the 2x12 Marshall and I had the 2x12 Joyo, and they're both gone. So yeah, I won't be buying any more like amp heads. I'm probably going to sell the last of the little ones that I've got as well, because I got nothing to plug them into other than the 2 notes torpedo now. So yeah, those speaker boxes, they take up so much floor space, man. I can only imagine like what Tone King's place is like. He's got like 50 of them. Paul says, I'd like to come along to the jam night when I'm in Melbourne next. Where is it held? It's held at the Mount Dandenong Hotel in Olinda. So, yeah, it's not right in the city or anything like that, but it's worth a drive. It's good fun. Do you need to bring an amp? Look, it just depends, man. If you're traveling over here or something, you might not need one, but yeah, some people are a bit funny about everybody using their stuff if they don't know them. So, yeah, if you can bring an amp, bring one down. If not, I'm sure that someone will lend you one. Hey, we got Robert Baker. Welcome, man. Oh, here we go. Robert says, I like the Origin 50, but I've had issues with it. One of the speaker outs broke and one of the effects loops stopped working on mine. Wow. You know, I've seen... Oh, yeah, that's interesting. Like, what was the other complaint with them? Was it like the sockets came out or something where the tubes sit in? Was it something like that? Like they had issues with the connectivity on them or something? I could be wrong. Maybe I'm thinking of another amp, but wow. That's, yeah, far out. Because you had the 50 head, right? That was, I think you got the 50 head. Lady says, I can't put my artist LP60 down. I love it. Awesome. Yeah, and they're good guitars, right? I was just saying earlier that I think a couple of the runs they had of them early on weren't quite right. There was a couple of issues with the posts, you know, that hold the bridge in. They were kind of like not very in there properly. There was a couple, there were only like, well, small issues that were easily fixed down the track, but they had a couple of things where they needed to fix a couple of things, so. Yeah, I still think like that last one that I tested, I can't remember exactly what it was called. I think I got the model number wrong before, but the last of those Les Paul style ones that I reviewed was killer. It was really good. What do you think? What did you work out with Toman on the SC450 guitar damaged in shipping? Have that guitar and really like it. I haven't heard back since the original email went up. So I think what I'm going to do, if you missed the start of the stream, I mentioned that it was in just to let you know, it was in a larger outer box that was fine. And inside that box, there was all packaging and paper and bubble wrap and stuff. So the internal box was damaged, whereas the outside one was perfect. So I think what I'm going to do is probably fix it up, try my best to sort of sand out the cracks and all that kind of thing. And if I can align the tuners without damaging it too much, excuse me, I'll give it a go. I'll do the review and then I'll donate it. I'll just get rid of it. Someone I'm sure will need a lefty. That, I mean, it's a nice guitar. Like mine, if it had turned up without those problems, I would say nice things about it, but it just needs a bit of work, and it's a bit of a shame because they're less expensive guitars are turning up perfect. So, yeah, I don't know. Jack the Rabbit, have a good one, man. I did 50 head, sounds great, but doesn't like a road dog, sadly. Doesn't like a road dog, sadly. What does that mean? What is that? Is that a term I've never heard? What's a road dog? Artists changed factories for the LP and they significantly improved. They did, absolutely. Yeah, that was one of the... I think since they've done that, it's been good. Hang on, let me just go back up here. So, did Robert have the head, right? You had the 50 head? The Wilkinson pickups are a little muddy for me though. Chuck a set of their bullbuckers in there. Yeah, the bullbucker pickups are quite good. Oh, road dog means it isn't built the best, but yeah, right. They're probably in a similar. They don't feel as robust as the DSL amps for whatever reason. I don't know if it's a. Oh man, I was so out of tune. Sorry guys, far out. There's new strings too, so they're just stretching in. Yeah, I feel like they're sort of like the Fender bass breaker amps. They don't feel quite as robust as some of the other amps in that range. Yeah, the 50 sounds good. I remember like enjoying that, but I'm so glad. Like, I don't know, I didn't. The hype train got behind them before they were released, and there was just so many people telling me, "Oh, I shouldn't have bought mine," and I had no problems with this at all. Other than the foot switch, I had to flow a small piece of solder on the jack because one of the wires had come off. But I've been kicking that thing around. So, yeah, I love that Marshall, man. It's probably played live 50 times. It's been great. Road dog just means it's built. Yeah, okay, cool. All right, how long have we been going for here, guys? Aaron, we've got 143 people here. Far out. I always lose track to keep an eye on that kind of stuff. But yeah, if anyone has any more questions, feel free to let me know. I'm going to probably wrap this up pretty soon. So we had a super chat from Greg Mikan. Sorry, man, I totally missed this. I think it might have been as the chat was not scrolling down. He says, fellow lefty here, Shane, if you ever make it to Houston, Texas, check out Southpaw Guitars, huge store, and all lefty, good people there. I'm definitely going to be checking that out, hopefully this year. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing that place in person. Yeah, thanks for the super chat too, mate. I appreciate it. And yeah, massive thanks to Todd and Jamal and Krager for the super chats, as well as Jerry, Hockey Punk, Greg, Matty K, and Doug. Appreciate it, man. Far out. Yeah, you guys don't have to do that, but I do appreciate it. It all goes back into making the channel better. So, yeah, thank you. So, yeah, if anyone has any last questions, feel free to let us know. Yeah, I started just as I woke up this live stream this morning. I thought, I had a late start. I got on and I was like, I'm kind of tired, but it's been ages. So today was the day. So if I seem a little out of it, I've had a late night. Leedy says, awesome live stream. Thanks, I appreciate that. Love to see some reviews of Gretsch guitars. Just bought a G2655TG-P90. That's a mouthful right there. Streamliner, Center Block Junior. Awesome. It's a beast, you would say. That's cool. I actually think I'll be doing some more Gretsch stuff coming up. I have a feeling I'll have access to a lot more of that those guitars about mid-year, just to do reviews of. So yeah, stay tuned. I'll be able to do Eastman guitars and a whole lot of other things that I haven't done a lot of, and I get a lot of requests for. So video suggestion: computers, software, and specs for setting up a DAW. I need guidance. Cool, absolutely. I'm a huge computer nerd, and the funny thing with doing or setting up a computer for recording, you can do it really inexpensively and get something that's going to be fine. A lot of people think for audio you need like the top of the line everything. You really don't. You just need a good multi-core CPU, something with about eight cores or 8 threads, and even that's enough. And I've never maxed my actually, that's a great video, because I really feel like you could do this on the cheap. So and still get something great. There's only a few requirements that you really need for putting something together. So yeah, I'll see what I can do. Might make that as part of the podcast or something coming up. Rick and I are going to do another podcast as well pretty soon, hopefully, maybe in the next week or two. If not, I've got one that I want to put together anyway, so I might do one in the meantime. So this is the Little Crow Raven. I just got this back. Actually, I got both of them back. The other one's, it's not in here. It's out in the lounge room, actually, but yeah, this is cool. This used to have the Peter Green kind of sound in there as well, and a push-pull pot, but now it's just modded back to straight up regular humbuckers, so both pickups is normal, volume and tone, and it's really cool. It's got the locking tuners now too, which will be a massive, I just like locking tuners. I like the fact that these are, it's the only way you could do it on this guitar, but they're flattened on the back of the headstock. They look really cool. Am I still a Linux fan for DAW? I think it's great as an option for getting going. But the one I use for all my actual albums is still Nuendo, because I know it so well. And I've still got projects sitting in there. I've got one more project I want to basically get done. And then once that's done, I'll probably move over to something else. Hey, it's Jamal's birthday, is it? Far out. Happy birthday, man. Have I used any IRs in your Joyo cab box? I haven't, no. I think I sold that pretty quick, because I've already got a Kemper and a 2-notes torpedo, but for what it is, that little thing's pretty cool. In terms of the Linux thing, I want to get this last project finished. It's basically done now, which is good. I've just got to mix it, which was like a tribute to JJ Cale after he passed away. It had been sitting here for ages, not moving forward past a point, but it's pretty much done. I got the last of the slide parts done. A friend of mine, Dom, played some slide, and it's great. So once that's done, I might move over to Linux. So I know all the operating systems really well now, so from their servers, and I'm a bit of a nerd. More Aussie reviews on your channel. Promote some locally made products. My mate Andy's a luthier from T Guitars. Lost his house recently in the fires. Oh, far out. That sucks. Sorry to hear that. Look, I'm not against putting Australian-made stuff on the channel. I actually encourage it, but a lot of the time, Australian guitar manufacturers don't reach out to me, or they're oblivious to the internet. It feels like they just have no idea. And that's not all of them, but it's a lot of them. They got great products. I've met them at guitar shows here locally. I've given them a card saying, hey, ship a guitar down, I'll do a review for free, send it back. You don't hear back from them. It's really odd. It's really odd. So it's not through lack of trying it. It's just they don't seem to get it. Little Crow's about one of the only Australian-made guitar companies that really gets it. And maybe I see a few go up on Brett Kingman's channel as well. He does some of the, what's the guy's name? Oh, see, I can't even remember. I just don't hear about him enough to remember the guy's name. I can't recall. But anyways, another Melbourne guy. It's also a guitar tech. He also builds his own guitars. And yeah, I haven't never heard from him. And I don't really contact lots of companies. I tend to get emails and just sort of assess whether or not, whatever options come in is something that I want to try. And very, very rarely have I ever got one from an Australian company. It's just the way that it works. I have from pedal manufacturers, but I don't always want to do pedal videos. It's just not something I enjoy anymore. So yeah, there's going to be way less of those coming up. I got one more, I think, coming up on tomorrow or the next day, and then that's pretty much it. I don't have any other pedals queued up. In terms of just conventional pedal demos, I don't really get a kick out of those. I'm going to do some comparison videos coming up with pedals, but yeah, just doing more of the same stuff isn't really that exciting for me. So that's why the last half of this year will be fun. I'll have a video coming up about that. Oh, Jamal's birthday is on Thursday. Ah, okay. Oh, happy birthday to Michael on the 14th. Could you do a simple song recording using Linux software? I have already done that. I did a video about, when was it? Probably just before I moved, maybe. So it would have been in June or something. Yeah, I did a basic track using, I forgot the name of the software. It starts with A. Ardor for Ubuntu or any Linux distribution, basically. So for those who don't know what Linux is, it's an open source operating system. It's what they developed. The Mac variation off was Unix kind of thing. So that's an offshoot of Linux, and Linux has about 150 distributions you can choose from that all do different things. So you can get like dedicated server ones, so you can set up your own server and file system, file sharing server at home, or you could run websites off it, or you can, use it like any operating system where you just want to use it as your everyday computer. And within that, you get a lot of free software. So from image editing suites to, video editing, which still sucks, in my opinion. I've tried their video editing. It was a horrible experience, So, but in terms of their audio and all their other apps, it's pretty good, right? So it just means you got to learn how to use it, and that can be frustrating. But yeah, there's some really great distributions out there. I might do a follow-up video on some of that coming up. Did you see Greg Cox's post of Jimmy's place where he burned his Strat? It's still there. Burn marks, that is. Oh, wow. Okay, no, I didn't know. I'm going to have to check that out. I haven't, like I said, I haven't been up. I started this stream just after I woke up, so I haven't seen that. I'll have to have a look. Bruce Carlton. Is that his name, Bruce Carlton? Carlton Custom Guitars. Yeah, that is it. Yeah, there you go. Thanks, Todd. Cheers, man. Ray Carlton. There you go. Yeah, I knew something didn't sound right there. There we go. He's right. Yeah, Ray Carlton. There you go. That's the guy's name. I met him before, actually. He did a mod on my G&L Telecaster, which was the ASAC Classic one, that American-made one that I had in blue, which I shouldn't have sold. I'm an idiot. Yeah, they had one of those input jacks that was... It wasn't like a screw-in one. It was one that... Well, it kind of was, but it was one that sort of didn't have the conventional setup. They used different input jacks on the G&Ls, and I couldn't get it to work. Couldn't get it to sort of sit in there right, and he fixed it. But yeah, I haven't tested any of his guitars, and like I said at the last Melbourne Guitar Show, I gave cards out to people as I was talking about them, saying, "Hey, I'll feature your booth on a possible video." I said, "I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, but I did that video like 5 guitars you probably don't know," or something like that, and that was part of that walk around. And yeah, some of those were Australian companies, and they're great, but they just don't see the value in, or they just don't understand the value in, I guess, sending some stuff out for reviews. They just don't do it. So I don't know. And some of them were super expensive too. So I don't know. Maybe that's part of it. I share my birthday with Dave Grohl, Zach Weil, and Carl Weathers. That's awesome. Carl Weathers is awesome, man. What a dude. Chris Chris says, mate, I love Knopfler as well. If I could play one fifth of as good as him, I'd be happy. Yeah, he's an amazing man. Knopfler's the gift that keeps giving. Someone said that to me years ago, and I was like, that's spot on. There's a good little trick you get out of Knopfler. So this is the first chord, G sharp minor. Then you play an E. But if you play a C sharp minor and put it on the E, there's your E. How cool is that? Because the next chord is the C sharp. So yeah. Oh, it's hard. I'm still getting used to it. Hey, Jeff Edwards. Thanks, man. He says, quick hi from an Aussie in Canada. Man, yeah. Hope you're having fun over there. I've only been to Vancouver, and it was absolutely beautiful back in, what year was it? 2001 or 2 I went there. And yeah, what a city, man. That's cool. Let us know where you are too, because we've got a lot of Canadians in the house here tonight, or this morning, or today, wherever you live. Wish you could stay and listen. I'll watch later. Nice to hear an Aussie accent. Thanks, man. Thanks for hanging out. I hope you're having a good time while you're traveling. That's cool. Paul Travask says, Mayton, hands down. Mayton make good guitars too. They do. They're not my sort of cup of tea acoustically. I've owned one. They're electric. The problem I have with Mayton guitars, and this is the only criticism I have of them, which is like nitpicky stuff, but I feel like their frets are always way too small. I don't know what that is, but they opt for these like really tiny frets. It's almost like they take their acoustic guitars frets and just bolt that neck onto an electric guitar. If we're talking electrics, like I always feel like their frets are too small. I really don't know why they do that, but yeah. Otherwise, they got some cool axes out there, but they're another company that I don't often see too many lefties anywhere. So they make a few, right? But I don't see too many of them, and they're not a company that have ever, they're big enough that they don't really need more promo and whatever else. And I'm not that big into acoustic guitar, to be honest, either. Like I just don't get the same excitement out of it. It just doesn't. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe because I suck at it. What's that song called? That's Brothers in Arms. That's basically the chord progression. It's played a little bit different, obviously, but that's the idea. Did I swap out the speaker in the DSL? Yeah, so I've got the, sorry, I read it literally there. I've got the Texas Heat in there still. So I tried the Tonka. The Tonka was great, but it made the amp way too loud, and it was way cleaner than I would have liked. It was weird. Like initially I was like, oh, this is great. I did a follow-up video going like, yeah, I put the Texas Heat in there because it was just, it gave the amp less treble, which was a good thing too. The Tonka was still really bright. It was brighter than I liked for my sound. The Texas Heat does roll out a bit of top end, but it also brings up the warmth of the amp, like the bottom end, and it's the perfect, for what I like, that sort of, my ideal tone is a Fender amp with my pedals. I can get that sound basically out of the Marshall, but it's got way more attitude. So, excuse me. So the Texas Heat has been in there for probably about 3 weeks after I had the Tonka. I haven't taken it out. I haven't replaced the speaker with anything else. I've actually got my hands on an Eminence Wizard right now. I borrowed it off one of my friends. And that's supposed to be a pretty great match for this amp, from what I've heard and all that kind of stuff. I haven't tried it in the actual amp, but I've tried it in like a speaker cabinet. So I'm looking forward to seeing whether or not it's a good match as well. I wish I had, I got one of the questions, how many hours a day do I practice? Not hours, unfortunately. I think it would show if I was practicing that much. A lot of the time now, if my practice is making vids. Like the part I focus on the most, it generally is the intro track. It keeps my timing and chops the best that I can play to make those intro tracks work. And if I'm really struggling with it, I stop and I actually practice. So I don't go through drills of anything. I'll usually pick the guitar up a little bit every day, even if it's only like 15, 20 minutes now, or even less. Or some days I don't pick it up at all. I find like if I go to the gym, I don't really want to play guitar after it because my hands are kind of sore. But then the following day it's fine. So yeah, I don't really practice like hours a day anymore. I guess I don't make time for that while I'm doing other stuff. I'm pretty busy outside of making videos. Just on this channel at least anyway, because I've got a few other things I do online. And I'm putting a lot of time into those, but ideally I would like to pick the guitar up every day and practice to backing tracks or whatever for 30 minutes. That would be ideal, but I don't do that every day. But when I really start to struggle, I go back to what I used to do when I was playing a few hours a day and practicing a lot, was put on all the stuff that really inspired me to play and jam. And time goes like that. And I know I've got certain songs at certain tempos I can play to. When I know I'm playing well and my dexterity's working and my execution's good, I can play to that without any issues. And then if I reapproach that and I'm like rusty or not, feeling good and it's tough, then I know, all right, I got to go back and practice because not long ago that was easy. So that's kind of how I look at it. I gauge it. I play live every weekend, so for me that's a good practice session as well. I feel like that's what I aim to do best. I don't aim to play my best on videos. I aim to showcase whatever it is that's in the video, but it's not for me about a chops fest or anything. I try to play my best when I'm out actually gigging. So yeah, or jamming, I should say. I'm in Montreal, snowing outside, better than the fires. Yeah, absolutely. This has been the weirdest summer ever. It's not only have we had the smoke, cover up the city for like a week. It's been cold. Like we had thunderstorms and like the biggest downpour in ages. I was wearing a hoodie the other night. Like 2 or 3 days I was wearing a hoodie, and it's supposed to be the hottest part of summer right now. So it's pretty crazy. Like this is the weirdest summer I've ever seen. It's just like my hands are cold in here right now, which is crazy. Have I played the Boss GT1000? I haven't. I actually want to test that out. It looks pretty cool. I'll see if I can get my hands on one of those. I can probably get most of the Boss gear. So if there's any Boss or Roland stuff you want to see on the channel, just let us know. Sorry, my throat's getting dry. Arcos55 says he just bought a Baja Tele. I love those guitars, mate. That's awesome. If I could ever get a lefty in those, I would have bought one by now. I'm practicing while I watch you in the blues. That's what I do too. Like I was watching Steve from Boston's live stream. Is it yesterday? I think it was yesterday. And I always pick a guitar up now. I remember Robert Baker said that if you're sitting around watching a live stream, practice your guitar. I was like, that's the best advice ever. So I've been doing that. Nearly every live stream I watch, I've got a guitar next to the computer and I'm tinkering and keeping the fingers moving. I'm off to the Hot Rod Show. See you later. Have fun, man. That sounds cool. Enjoy. I was going to make a bad joke there, mate, but I won't. I'll save it for later. Tell you what, I'm going to grab my Tele out. It's just in the other room, but I can talk to you as I do this. let's grab it. And yeah, where is it? Here it is. Man, this guitar's great. I really like this thing. All right. Oh, sorry about the buzz. I shouldn't have probably left that on the floor. All right, rip headphones. Ready? 1, 2. Yeah, it wasn't so bad. Yeah, my hands are freezing. It sucks. So this has the biggest neck out of all the guitars now. One of the mods I had to the other little Crow was to actually reduce the neck size. This is one of those U-shaped ones, so it's I think the largest one Fender make, or one of the largest ones anyway. The little Crow was actually slightly fatter, and it was really hard to play sort of like the F like this. It's really sort of fatiguing. So yeah, and now that plays beautifully, but this is a great guitar. Let's change the tones here. What do we got? That's a clean channel. Sounds kind of weird. Here we go. So I don't know if that's the clean channel or not. No, I don't think it is. Shane, can you give me an idea of a decent bedroom volume amp or transistor amp? Velvet transistor. Love the show. Thanks. Yeah, we're talking about the Vox Pathfinder 15R. They're a really great little practice amp because they're small and they sound good. They got reverb. They're like $100. I think they're $120 or something. So that's here. So they're probably like $40 anywhere else in the world. But yeah, they're really cool. They're a really great little practice amp. I've said good things about those for years. Anything that has sort of power attenuation built in is a good thing too. And that could even be stuff like, I got a Boss Next Tone amp, and I've been using that on like, 0.5 watts or 1 watt a lot lately at home because it's the perfect volume for my room when it's late, So anything like that's really, really cool. You can get big amps that you can turn right down, and that might give you some flexibility of being able to take them out live. Like even the Katanas and all that, I think one of the benefits of those is even if all of that doesn't appeal to you in the sense of having to plug it into the computer or choosing to, you can at least turn them down on the output volume. So that's really cool thing. I'm just trying to think of what else I've got. I've got one of these Joyo Sweet Baby amps. It's a 5 watt. It's surprisingly loud for a 5 watt amp, but with pedals, it sounds really good. One thing about it though that I don't really like is the fact that if you turn it up to the point it's distorting, it doesn't sound very good. But if you have it up where it's clean and loud, or loud for a small amp, and then you run pedals into it, it sounds amazing. It's such a great little amp. The Bugera V5 Infinium's good. You can also switch that output volume down. I had that for years. It's a really good little amp. Before I moved, I cleared out a lot of stuff, and I had that for a long time, mate. It was a really cool amp. Only one thing about it is some people, and myself included, the biggest criticism of it is it feels like the tone control needs to go further. It's like it's not quite bright enough. But if you have, your favorite pedal, you can just turn the treble up on that, and you should be fine. So, yeah, plenty of really great small options out there. The Bugera would be a great little choice. That Sweet Baby amp's good because it's actually got a 6V6 in the output section instead of an EL84, so it has more of a Fender sound, a bit more of a punchy sound. But yeah, it doesn't have a power attenuator on there. And on its own, just dead clean with no reverb or anything, some people might find that a bit bland or a bit dry, but if you've got a pedal that you like to put in there for reverb, You should be able to get some good tones. Try the Monoprice 15 watt tube amp. Yeah, they don't have, you can't get that here. Like that's just an American thing, I think, or maybe also in Canada, but Monoprice, they only, I think, I could be wrong, but I think they only sell on Amazon, and it's not a brand that, look, if you can probably get them here, but they're going to have like 110 volt AC power supplies. So that's just, you need a step down transformer, and yeah, unfortunately, unless I'm overseas, I don't think I'm going to have a chance to try those. Any mini humbucker videos yet? Not for a while, no. I think the last one I had was the Les Paul with mini humbuckers, and I think mini humbuckers sound awesome. Very underrated pickup. I'm surprised more people, you're right, there's not a whole lot of videos online. I'll see what I can do. I'll see if I can find something with mini humbuckers for you. Why no stereo attenuators? Not enough market. I mean, you probably don't need a stereo attenuator. You just get a second one, right? Like, you'd be running 2 amps into 2 power attenuators. You can't run, well, unless you're saying, do you want to run 2 amps into 1 power attenuator that can carry both of the load? So I don't know. I mean, maybe that's an idea. I don't know how many people run stereo rigs. So yeah, most people probably just get a second one, because sometimes amp ohm loads can vary too, and that might do weird things to the box. So yeah, it might get too confusing. Funny how many songs have that chord progression, you know? Like, I was going through all the songs that I've learnt recently. I got a list on the wall. No, some of them anyway. And there's so many songs that have this chord progression. it's hilarious. It's like the old classic, you know. It's just it's like, oh, that sounds a lot like the other song, and you look up the other song, it's like, oh yeah, it's the same pattern. There's a actual formula for that. There's a great video that was viral like maybe 10 years ago. It was something like the best, or it's like a compilation of 4 chord songs, and there's just all the number 1 hits have that progression. It's pretty funny. I bought 2 Bugeras for my Johnson Millennium. Cool. Les Paul Deluxe had mini humbuckers. Yeah, I had one like it was a 70s reissue or something. This was going back a while, and I picked it up for a bargain. Yeah, it's another, you know, I think, yeah, selling some stuff is good, and then selling some stuff you go, oh, I should have persisted with it or got it set up, because my friend still got that same guitar. I remember when they came out, they were really cheap. They were 600 Australian dollars. It was a Les Paul, American made, with mini humbuckers. And I bought one, and I sent him a photo. I go, do you want one of these? Because they're like half price. I think the shop might have been going out of business or something. He goes, yeah, get me one. So I got him one. And his was fine, but I remember back when I got mine, every time I play a chord, it would be out of tune. And then I checked my tuning, it'd be fine, right? I didn't know how to fix that. So I ended up flipping it to a dude who... like, he was well aware of that, but he goes, oh, I just wanted this decoration. It's gone on the wall. I was like, oh, all right, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, that was a really cool guitar. Those mini humbuckers, man, they got a lot of vibe. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. They're cool. Can you play Rock and Pneumonia? I don't know that. Yeah, I don't know if I know that. YB negative, that's cool. Justin, What does the Fender Tone Master sound like with the attenuator? Does it take drive pedals well? A bit iffy in that review. No, I actually said that the amp takes pedals really well, but it sounds very different to like a regular solid state amp. It doesn't sound bad though. Like the last 3 or 4 weeks, all I've been playing is the Tone Master Twin live. And if you follow my Instagram, I think 2 nights ago I put a video up of one of my guitars. I recorded that on 1 watt mode with microphones. So mic's in front of the amp with my effects pedals, and I loved it. I thought it sounded great. It's just a really cool amp. The power attenuator is, yeah, so the interesting thing about it is I almost feel like anything under 40 watts when you're playing live doesn't sound as good as the amp 40 watts or beyond. So 40 and 85 watts are the sweet spot when you're playing live. Anything less than that, the amp doesn't open up. It's like the 20 watt mode on the Marshall. It sounds okay, but it doesn't sound anywhere near as good as 40 watts. All of a sudden you get more bottom end, you get more everything, projection. There's a sweet spot on that Fender Twin, but if you're playing just at home or you're doing a low key gig, it's great that 22 watts is still usable when you don't want to be loud. Anything under that is home territory, and don't expect the sound as good as the amp does at 100 watts or at 85 because it's not even close, right? So you are sacrificing that. The funny thing is the recorded tone is still very, very similar. So that 1 watt recording that I did of the Little Crow guitar, I had it mic'd up with a 57 and an E906, and it sounded unreal. I was like, man, the tones are awesome, and it was almost like inaudible in the room. So, yeah, it's definitely got the power attenuator. If you're playing live, leave it at 40 watts or 85, and then set the volume accordingly. If you're playing at home, you can run it however you like. But yeah, I look at stuff from. My criticism was most likely because I felt like the 22 watt mode didn't have the oomph of the 40 watt or 85. But I love that amp, man. I reckon it's great. New Epiphone Les Paul thoughts? You know what? I gotta catch up on all the NAMM spam. I mean, videos. Yeah, I watched a handful of videos. I haven't seen them all, but from what I saw of some Epiphone stuff, it looks pretty good. I also like the fact that they've released the USA-made Casino. I'm very keen on having a look at those, if I can ever find one around somewhere. The Vox Minis are pretty good and cheap. Got some analog modeling and effects, only about 5 watts. Could even chuck it in the going away bag. That's cool. Awesome. Another small amp that's really great is the Nuex BT Lite. It's a battery powered amp. You can also run it off a pedal power supply. That thing's unreal. Like, that's a really great choice. Actually, it's louder than it looks. You can throw it in the bag as well. So yeah, those little amps are great. Some channels are pumping out like, 5, 6 videos a day. It's like, man. Yeah, USA Casino, $2,700. That's about right. I mean, you're basically buying a Gibson Casino, right? Like, that's what that is. It's not a like offshore made guitar. You're paying for it to be made, in the US. You're paying for it to be made by people with regular wages and all the things that come along with that. And that might be hard to get your head around, that it's so expensive, but it's because of where it's made. And that's what some people want. So yeah, I think it's $2,700. It's funny. I have to do the conversion on that. I don't know what that equates to in Australian dollars, but I'm assuming that's probably right around the same cost as what a pretty good 335 might cost you overseas, or in the States, if that's the US dollars, or any sort of decent Les Paul. I don't know what the going price for those are in the US, because it's been a while since I've been there, but yeah. Waiting for the NAMM smoke to clear before I care about it. Yeah, it's a lot to take in. You know, that whole week is just crazy, man. It really is. All these guys go there and they film like just stacks of videos. I get it. Like, there's nothing wrong with doing that, but there's only so much of it you can really watch, and I only watch a handful of channels with that sort of stuff. I don't get into all the shops. I watch the guys I know basically going through there and checking it out, because I'm not overly interested in getting hyped up about what I could buy next year or later in the year. That doesn't excite me. What excites me is seeing something interesting and unique. And nearly every year, it's like, hey, we got this new line of guitars. They kind of look like S-style guitars. Great. You've just reinvented the same wheel all the other companies have invented. And after about 4 years of seeing the same crap come up and the same hype behind a lot of junk that is just, it'll be better next year. I'm like, I'm not buying into any of this stuff. The guitar you have is fine. So, yeah, that's kind of how I look at it. I always think the guitar you have is going to be just as good as the one that's coming out next year. Unless, of course, there's a company who are doing something completely new for them. Like, they might go, okay, so we're going to make a range of guitars locally. I think that's cool. Or they might be doing a rerun of something they made 30 years ago. That's kind of cool. I know not everyone will agree with that, but I think if they haven't done it for so long, no, I'm not talking about like Gibson where they release the same guitars every year pretty much, but with companies that are a little bit more obscure coming back with a guitar they might not have had for a long time. That's cool and that's interesting, but I really don't feel like there's a lot of stuff that people really, it's just buying into the hype train. Like, I really don't feel like most people need, or they don't need next year's guitar. It's not going to solve any problems, The one you've got is fine. Like, when I bought this, I said to Rick, much like my 52, which has the Joe Barton pickups, I wanted a guitar that would meet my expectations long term, and this does. And I don't care if Fender release another lefty that's got, a rosewood fretboard on it next year. I couldn't care less. Like, I'm not buying guitars now for that. I'm keeping guitars. I'm trying to find the guitars I'm going to have long term. And if they don't meet that expectation or requirement, then I'm not going to get it. So yeah, buying stuff for the sake of it, or that was the whole thing I was talking about. Some amps get pushed some years and these are going to be the best thing ever. And then people get their hands on it. You realize it's not exactly what everyone was thinking. So yeah, I try to stay clear of that. I think my Achilles heel at the moment is like camera gear. I'm like, how I used to be with guitars and all that is probably translating over to production gear stuff. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's weird. I'm past the point of caring too much about what's coming out next year. I play the guitars that I have and they're fine for me. And I think most people who have a 2019 Gibson don't ever need to buy a 2020 Gibson unless something different completely comes out. But if you're going to just buy a new Les Paul because it's the new Les Paul and you don't have it, it's not probably the best way to go shopping. I mean, I'm going to tell you what to do, but yeah, next year's Tele won't be better than this. It'll be just something different. And for me, this is pretty much what I love. So I don't know. I hope that makes some sense anyway. I really feel like waiting for next year's stuff isn't going to make you a better player, nor will it make you more inspired to play. It's just something else to buy. Yeah, Loose Cannon says Anderton's is a huge NAMM spammer. Yeah, actually someone sent me a screenshot of their feed. I haven't been subbed to them for years, but yeah, I was like, oh, there you go, like 30 videos in a day. Like, how much of this stuff it's just filler. It feels like filler. Hey Shane, how do you cope with interference from recording, streaming so close to your computer? I can't really do it much because of it. It gives me the irrits. Hey, welcome, man. Sorry if I didn't say hi before. It's fine. But notice there's no noise. There's a gate on the Kemper. So if I was to turn that off, let's have a listen. So there's a lot more noise. But it's still pretty much normal. It's pretty much normal noise. Occasionally though, my wireless pack can interfere with the electronics on the guitar. So I just leave the gate on anyway. Sometimes you hear it sort of pulse, but yeah, I would check to see if there's any earthing issues in your setup somewhere. It could just be that you need a 3-prong pin on a plug as opposed to a 2. Sometimes that can help as well. But yeah, I don't really have, luckily in this room, I don't really have too many problems with buzz. The worst case is I've got a lot of lights on, like more than I've got on now, and I'm running like amps and lots of other stuff, and sometimes that can be a bit of a problem, but depending on how you stand and where you stand in the room can change that as well. But sometimes just computer power supplies can be noisy, and that sucks. That could be the problem there. Especially laptops. Laptops have an inherent issue with noise. Not all of them, but there's a lot more people complaining about noise when recording with laptops. And if they unplug the power supply from the computer and record just with the battery, it works fine. So that's a good sign that the actual noise is coming from that power supply. So then you have to troubleshoot how to fix that, which can be a problem. So, yeah. Have I ever reviewed the Levinson Blade guitars? Man, those things that's from Carl. Those guitars are awesome. You know, I knew nothing about Levinson Blades when I was, this was going back quite some time ago, and a friend of mine picked one up. He goes, I can't believe I found one of these. And he got it for a bargain. I'm like, what is this? It looks like a Strat. But man, those guitars are unreal. And he's had like sensor pickups and all this kind of stuff in it, and it was really good. So, yeah, look, I've never played a lefty. If I ever had a chance to, I would. I'd love to try one. Yeah, there's something about these sort of more obscure brands that I'm kind of, yeah, I like the idea of a lot more. Coming up later this year, I'll probably be able to get my hands on a whole lot of lefties. So, yeah, if there's anything like that where I'm going to be shooting, I'll let you know. And I'll make a video. But, yeah, there's so many. That's one of those brands not many people talk about. I think they're really good. Most interesting thing from NAMM was the new Line 6 Pod Go. You know, I was on a mailing list for products. I don't know how I got on it. I didn't even sign up for it, but I got on this mailing list from one company. And this is what sort of shits me about these product events. And I'll just put this out there that, you know, if you buy something like a Line 6 Helix, I'm not saying that the emails was from Line 6, but I'll use that as an example. They send an email out, and it was, like I said, it wasn't Line 6, but it was another brand. They send an email out going, oh, we've just released this new one, you know, twice the processing power of the old one, twice the amount of this and that. And I'm like, so basically everyone who just bought your one last year, this is now junk. Like, it just doesn't make sense, man. I really, so yeah, I'm a bit cautious with any of that digital stuff. Oh, sorry. I haven't seen that actual unit yet either, by the way. I'm not saying this company wasn't Line 6 who sent that email out, but when I saw it, it made me kind of shake my head. I was a little disappointed that, you know, this is why the hype will get behind it, and everyone who feels like they need all this extra processing power will buy into it, you know, and it's just not the case. You just don't need it. That guitar where you could switch out the pickups with the magnets was cool last year. Yeah, actually, that was cool too. I remember Steve from Boston posted something on Instagram where it had that one guitar had a pickup that you could rotate in position and it would change the type of pickup. I thought that was great. Do I learn blues licks by ear or by DVD or tab? I really need to find something and get my blues chops up. So originally, first video I went all the way through. This was on VHS before DVD. Was Matt Smith's A Beginner's Guide to Blues Guitar, which you can still buy. I went all the way through that and that really improved my playing like you wouldn't believe. I went from not knowing anything and just from tinkering scales like, you you know, to being able to play like all the licks you pretty much hear me play now. And the tab was weird because it had it on screen, but it was upside down. Because it was back to front or something. Because as a lefty, I'm looking at it going, why does this look like this? I couldn't get my head around it. But then I got used to that, so it became normal. So I could, yeah, but I never really felt like tab was, online tab is not very good. A lot of it isn't right, or the notes. So what I try to do is just approximate something by ear. And the only way you can do that is to learn licks to begin with. So if you can play a solo out of a song, or if you learn a handful of blues licks you want to play from someone who's, you know, a good teacher and it's easy to follow along, that'll get you going. But then it comes down to your ear. A lot of the time, when I learn something new, like when I learned a couple of those country licks a while back, I learned them off YouTube, but I was just watching it and listening to it, because that's, for me, that's the easiest way to learn it. Once you get enough licks in your bag, you can just work them out, because it's not all, you can't just work them out all of the time. You can work out ones that relate to the stuff you've already learned. I remember I tried to learn this lick a while back, Chris Kane thing that he does. And it was a lick that I couldn't work out. I'm like, why can't I get this? And my friend Brian, who's like a wizard with all of these like other scale, oh, not even scales, he's just a guru, right? He can play everywhere across the fretboard in all these different ways, and he knows all the outside stuff. And he goes, you almost got it, you're just doing one thing wrong. It goes like, and he heard it, never had played it, and went, he just did it. He goes, it's this bit you're doing wrong. Just that first part, because a half step down, I was like, oh. So I did that wrong for a while, and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. And he picked it because his ear's tuned for those half steps here and there, and he's familiar with playing outside of the box a little bit. So yeah, it's easy to pick licks once you have a foundation of stuff you can already hear in your head and play, and then you can work it out. If I was to hear any traditional blues licks that aren't too like Robin 40 or some of the Chris Kane stuff, I can work a lot of that out just by hearing it, because I know it has to be somewhere around here or here. That's just how most of that traditional blues stuff goes. But in terms of a lot of that Robin Ford stuff and Chris Kane, working out some of those licks has been a really big challenge. And some of them, there aren't lessons on it either. So some of those licks I've been stealing off Chris Kane was that last one, but he also does this one, like you know, stuff like that. And yeah, I can't think of any of these others off the top of my head, but yeah, he's got a whole lot of really great licks. Yeah, just these little like really great like major licks. What was his one? Yeah, he's got these really, really tasty sort of like dominant style licks in his playing, as well as all the minor stuff that he does as well. But it takes a while to get your ear tuned to listening for it. And I think the easiest way to learn the lick is to have it in your head, have it ingrained. Like, you know, if you think of a classic song that has great guitar parts, you tend to be able to hum along with it, and you have to be able to hum along or sing it in your head at least when you want to learn the lick. You have to have it sort of in your brain, because if you don't, it makes it harder to remember. You know, I learned some old sort of standard jazz licks like what was it? I remember how hard that was to learn, because that was like a completely different phrasing of notes, different position on the fretboard, and I was so used to playing pentatonic that it was hard to get out of that for a while. And you know, part of that lick now, that last part, I use that all the time over other stuff. So I go like, so yeah, you can kind of take bits and pieces, and that's how you piece the lick thing together. But you got to be able to hear, you know, that whole. You got to be able to hear it in your head to be able to play it. So try to drill it in and then play it. Anyway, that's a long answer there. Sorry about that, guys. I joined the Texas Blues Alley local memberships. Anthony is a great teacher. Anthony's awesome, man. Good on you. I should do that. Yeah, Anthony's the man. He's such a great guy. Paul says, love the Mighty Light. Bought it on your recommendation. Come to think of it, I got the SX Vintage Tele on your recommendation as well. Awesome stuff. Cool. Yeah, those Teles are really cool. I think there wasn't anything really groundbreaking. Maybe the Lunar system and the new Super Door of sorts. Cool. That's NAMM stuff. Mr. Cream says, Line 6 are the worst at screwing customers with a new version of gear. My Line 6 Firehawk FX is a good unit, but no upgrades from Line 6 for years. Yeah, you know what? I totally agree. I had a Line 6 UX8, which was a rack-mountable sound card. All of a sudden, out of the blue, no more support. Windows upgraded, didn't work. It's like, thanks for that. So, yeah, they were under a winner with that unit. The UX8 was one of the best sound cards I ever had. It was up there with the Motu 8 Pre in terms of like quality and all the stuff you could do with it. It was really good. Yeah, they disappear. So that's the problem, man. Like, I think people are seeing guitars as disposable. I really don't know why a lot of companies release guitars every year. Like, make more, but there's not really much more people. I don't know. It's just weird. I find the whole guitar industry a bit strange. Like, it's not really a technology-based thing. You're buying a guitar now based on its visual more than anything else. I mean, look at this. This is basically a guitar that they made in the 50s. Like, what's changed on it? Maybe the way it smells. And it's got better frets than back then. But yeah, you know what I mean? Like, how many variations of the same thing does there need to be? I get that they have to appeal to different price points, but just painting a guitar a different color isn't really innovating anything. It's just a different color. I don't know, maybe I'm getting cynical about it, but I just feel like a lot of that stuff isn't innovation. It's just the same thing packaged differently. Yeah, Greg Koch's a great player, man. He's unreal. Hello from Singapore. I'm visiting in March. Any chance I can swing by to be a fly on the wall at one of the blues jams you go to? Yeah, so the only one I go to is at the Mount Dandenong Hotel, and that's in Olinda. So I go most Sundays. I actually ran it last night, but I don't run it all of the time, thank God. But yeah, last night was good fun, and that's the only one I go to. So if you're in town on a Sunday, usually you'll see myself and Rick and a few of the other guys there. I grew up playing fast metal, but I think the blues is the hardest to play. Far out, okay. I don't know, man. I really feel like on a technical level, it'd be country or jazz, which would be, and metal. Some metal anyway. Some of those guys that can shred and do all that kind of stuff, it just goes right over your head. But I really think it just comes down to what you've learnt. And trying to learn the opposite is hard. Like, I can't do a lot of the stuff, or any of the stuff you see other guitars where they've got that really great, heavy, really fast sort of rhythm hand and for the chug stuff. I can't chug. It's not something that I've ever learnt. So my skill set is different. Like, I play rhythm guitar. The way I think about it is like, I'll be doing stuff like that over a song as opposed to, I can't even do it. That real sort of chuggy, that's not a good tone for that either. But yeah, everyone's got their strengths, and I think if you've been playing metal, learning the opposite style of music is going to be a challenge. But odds are you'll have an advantage if you can play fast already. Not that you need to play fast in blues. It means slowing down is probably going to be easier than learning how to play quick. Just update on the flanger situation. Just bought an Ibanez CF7 from the pawn shop. Talked to him down from 69 to 44. That's great. Cool. Ibanez make great stuff. They really do. Their pedals are cool. Elantric says, got an artist Tweed Tone 20R. Love it for the blues jams. That's cool. We at least see 2 of those a week now. The one I go to, they're spreading like wildfire. Here's a question. Gotta wonder what all the second-hand guitars are from the last 75 years have gone. That's the thing with guitars, right? Like, good ones don't get thrown away. They might get, stolen or lost, but they never really get destroyed unless you run over them with a steamroller or something. But whatever that video was a while back. But yeah, that's the thing. Like, I'm looking at getting guitars now. I'm going to keep long term. I really don't want to keep buying them. I'm sort of done with that. I really don't think, for myself, owning a custom shop guitar is of any value, because not only where I am playing wise, but it's not going to make me sound any better than this. And this is a great guitar for what I love. For example, this is just this one on my Flying V or whatever. It's fine for what I need it for. Buying a more expensive guitar isn't going to make me a better player. Yet I feel like this is the perfect sort of guitar for what I like and what I can afford and all that kind of thing. So yeah, in terms of like, where do they go? A lot of people resell their guitars, and there's other people that might not ever sell them. So I think there's probably more used guitars getting moved around than new guitars being sold. That would, at least in terms of people who are a bit more serious about it, like people who are watching this, or live guitar players, would probably look used more than they would look new a lot of the time. I could be wrong about that, but I have a feeling, just based on my own experience, being able to move a lot of gear over the years, that there's a lot of stuff that is still out there. And that's what I meant before, like next year's guitars. It's just another guitar in the list of guitars that get released every year. So yeah, there's no point always sort of like going to the new place first. If you can buy a great used guitar, do it. I'm a big advocate of that. People do a lot of trades these days, man. Even Rick, from the channel, he's been doing a lot of trades. I got mates who just trade stuff online. It's crazy. Did you see that red custom shop Fender Salient Strat? Oh yeah, I did. I commented on that. Actually, it's great. So Fender released this Strat that was like based on influenced by a car, and it had this 3-pedal thing that you could get with it as well. I was really impressed by that. I did comment on that video. As soon as it went live, I was awake. I was laying in bed. I saw it come up. I was like, oh man, this is cool, and I really like the look of it. So check out Fender's video. I reckon that was a really cool, even though it's not practical for a lot of people or whatever. I really like the look of it. I was impressed that something different had come out. If you have a questionable guitar, consider it getting. Oh, would I consider it getting plecked, which is that machine that does it? Absolutely. Like if I ever had to, I probably would. But I'm pretty lucky right now. None of these need that. So yeah, I'm pretty good at the moment. Oh. Melbourne Central, don't mind the distance. Yeah, Melbourne Central's right in the city, man. So yeah, there is a train that goes most of the way out there, and then you need to get a bus. I nearly buy all my gear used, and I mean you can save an absolute fortune. It's a bit of a, really is a buyer's market than it more is a seller's. If you're trying to sell something, you're gonna get talked down, right? Even if you think what you're selling it for is fair, people want a bargain. And I had an offer today on a guitar that was $350 less than the price I was asking for it. So I went back up $100 to see if I haven't checked my phone, but I'll see if he's going to agree to that. But yeah, it really is. The power's in the person who wants to buy it. It really is. So you can definitely get a great bargain. So many people sell stuff without using it. It's just the way that it is. I got friends who sell stuff. They buy a guitar, they use it for a month. You don't see it for 6 months, and then all of a sudden it's up for sale, and they get a really great. Whoever's buying it can get a really great deal on something that's basically new. How long did it take you to break in your Blues Deluxe speaker? Just got a creamback for mine. The stock speaker doesn't sound very great, in my opinion. If you put a creamback in there, creambacks, like most Eminence speakers, in my opinion, don't really... I think Celestion speakers break in a little more than Eminence. Eminence just sound great straight away. From what I understand of a lot of Celestion speakers, it's debatable whether there's any difference after a month, after 2 months. I did an article about that, actually. I really feel like a lot of that is rubbish. And while it can be true for some people some of the time, there's clear examples of speaker breaking making no difference in a lot of cases as well. So my opinion with buying something like a creamback is if you put it in and you like it, that's how it's going to sound. If you put it in and you don't like it, it's never going to sound the way you want it to sound. It's not the right speaker, and that's a bit of the rabbit hole with guitar speakers as well. So yeah. Go to guitarspeakerguide.com if you want to have a look. I did an article on speaker break-in and why I think most of the time it's not something you should be waiting for. And like I said, some people are going to swear that their speaker changed over the course of a year, but it could also be that other things changed over the course of the year too. But yeah, that stock speaker, I could never get used to it. The one that just comes stock in the Blues Deluxe, and it's just too bright and it was too bassy, and it was weird. It was just like, had the teeth shattering stuff. Hey, Mario from Brazil, welcome in. What are stainless steel frets like? They feel exactly like normal frets, except they don't wear out. So, you ever need your guitar refretted, put stainless steels in. My other Telecaster that I've got that looks like this with the Joe Bardens, that's got stainless steel frets, and they're never getting worn out. They're great. I think Sir are about the only company that I know of off the top of my head that have stainless steel frets. Stock. I mean, there's probably others too, but I can't think of any. Does that tell you playing have gloss on the front and back of the neck? It does, yep. So it's not a vintage tint. It's got that flame maple kind of vibe going through it. Yeah, so it is kind of sticky. I got to be honest, like it's not. It's one of those weird guitars. Once you start playing it, it's all right, but when you first pick it up, the gloss does feel a little bit sticky. But then after a while, I just forget about it, and your hand sort of sweats up a bit. Peter says, did you hear about the news of the guy down near Bateman's Bay that lost his collection of vintage Hofners from the fires? I only heard about it at the start of the stream. Someone mentioned it at the start. Yeah, I didn't hear about it. It's horrible. I was thinking about that the other week. Like I was talking to my mum about like the fires, and where I live is up in the hills as well. So I was like, oh, what would I grab? You know, I should have a box full of all the important stuff, like, you know, my passports and all that. And this is something I want to do and just have it ready, you know, like just in case. I'm safe where I am, by the way, guys. But yeah, it made me think like, what would I grab? You know, which one amp would fit in my car? What one or two guitars could I throw in there? My computer, you know, what would I take with me, kind of thing. And yeah, I was like, man, it sucks hearing these stories about people losing stuff. That's why I think, you know, the best thing to do, someone commented on that Harley Benton unboxing video, and I think the best thing to do with that would be to fix it and donate it to someone who might have lost their stuff. So, yeah. Sounds still like it's distorting. I think I'm clipping a little bit here. You know, let me let's go back to the other patch. So we'll go to a Princeton. Princeton with a max on pedal in front of it. Let's try this. Let's turn that up. So that's with the Overdrive Pro, I think. Love the posters on the wall, thanks. So a lot of these I just get off Google. You go to Google Images and you type in sort of like T-Bone Walker poster, that'll come up. Stuff you can't buy anywhere. So I just got them printed locally at an office supply shop and just got them laminated. I don't care for the brightness, and they are hell on my fretting. I don't think you're hearing anything that isn't inherently there already. I think a lot of people complain about brightness of fret tone. I think it's more just the fact that they're new. If you were to replace frets on a guitar with anything, it's going to probably sound a little brighter to begin with, but I don't buy into that. I don't think it makes any difference at all. Yeah, I don't know. But everyone's got different opinions and different experience with stuff too. I'm just going by what I know. I just thought it sounded exactly like my guitar, but it had great frets. Oh, I'm running through the Kemper. So I've just plugged into the Kemper using the Fender. Right now I'm using the Fender 68. What was it? I think it was actually it might have been a deluxe reverb with a max on pedal. Before it was the DSL, a DSL 40 patch I made, or profile. I've got a whole lot of stuff actually on this Kemper now from the last few months. Lots of different amps. What do we got? Fender Princetons, Fender Supersonic, Fender XL. We got the JCM 800. This was the high gain one, I think. That was through my 7080 cab. I wish I had a different cab at that time because it was a little bit of a bright, it's a bit too bright. Got the Sweet Baby amp. We've got the Joyo Jackman amps. Joyo Zombie. Yeah. That's great. I used to use that profile a lot in the videos for lead stuff. Almost sounds like there's a cocked wah going on with that at the moment. I have to listen to the other tones. What's this one? This is the Marshall with the Tonka speaker. It's probably more of a traditional Marshall kind of tone. It's got like a tighter sort of low end sound as well. No, I don't do the software thing. It's too, with my setup, it just doesn't seem to work well. He's got it nailed. He's nailed that setup. I think it's got to do with my I mentioned this earlier, some of the software that I use for recording. The Kemper's just easier. I plug it in, I'm done. I don't have to worry about anything glitching. It doesn't crash or anything like that. So yeah, sometimes I found trying to play the software in real time through the stream, it gets weird. It got laggy the first time I tried it just recording at home. So yeah, I didn't end up, I didn't end up going that route. I mean, I'm going to try it again at some point, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with this stuff. Have I watched the Blues America doco on YouTube? I'm not sure if I've seen that one or not. I've watched a few blues documentaries, but I'm not too sure. Yeah, I got nothing to do today, so I thought I might as well jump on Robert Baker's back. Joyo Zombie's a killer amp. Yeah, I agree. I think it's a great sounding amp. It's actually back up there at the moment. I might put that patch back on, actually, that profile. It's a bit of fun. So I got the... Yeah, this is it here. This is with delay. Yeah. So that was profiled through the Celestion 7080 cabinet, I think it was, with the... these headphones drive me bananas. Yeah, the Celestion 7080 cab with the Rode M3 was this profile. Yeah. Through you, Rob. I can't do all that fancy stuff. Can't even hit the right string. How do you do this? Yeah, no. There we go. Dante says, I'm thinking of swapping one of my 7080s in my 2x12 for a greenback. What do you say? I would make sure that your the greenback can handle the power of the cabinet, so, or of the amplifier you're running into it, because greenbacks are like 25 watts or something. You can get higher rated ones now as well, but just make sure you don't buy like a 25 watt one or something and put it in a cab that's running at 80 watts. It's not going to be loving that at all. So I would just make sure you buy the same ohmage. Like greenbacks are good. They're great in certain amps and great with certain combinations of amplifiers. They're good with Vox amps, in my opinion. They're okay in like Princeton's as well. I think they sound pretty good. I don't think they sound good in Blues Juniors. It's just my opinion. I owned one and I didn't like it in the end. It just sounded too thin. So yeah, they're good speakers for if you're playing rock. Pretty solid choice. Just make sure that you buy one that can handle the actual ohmage of the, of the cab and the actual power, the output wattage. So yeah, just make sure you're not putting a 25 watt speaker in a 100 watt cab. It will make a difference. Is the short answer too. I would almost be inclined to maybe fit it out with a vintage 30 because they're rated at 75 watts or 75 watts. So yeah. And the output of those speakers is louder, I think, than a greenback as well. So, yeah, if you're getting a, what did you say, creamback? No, yeah, okay. So the alternative to the greenback is a creamback, which is it handles way more power. It's not that much more efficient volume-wise. I don't think from memory a creamback, they're not like the loudest speaker in the world, but they're pretty good. What gauge strings do you play? Usually either 10s or 11s. So most of the guitars at the moment have 10s. This has 11s. The only other one that has 11s is my Strat at the moment. All the Les Pauls type 1s and the Vs all have 10s. I've just gone back to playing 10s. When I got the PRSSE, it was loaded with 10s and it felt so good. I just didn't want to lose that experience. So I kept with 10s for whatever reason. I'm not convinced there's really I think Rick Beato did a video about string. I've seen it pop up in comments all the time. Have you seen the video? And I haven't. But I don't know if there's going to be that much of a difference between 10s and 11s other than how they feel to play. Like tone-wise, I don't know, man. I don't know if it makes that much difference. You look at like guys like Billy Gibbons who play 8s or something or less, and his tone's epic. So yeah. looks like the weekend is going to be hot again. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't checked the forecast. I know we're going to get some pretty... it's going to be up in the 40s this week at some point. That's Celsius. Like, it's hot. I am not real. Okay. Rob's going to put up a tapping lesson. Watch. Ah, good. Yeah. Mate, anything I can steal off that guy's playing is a good thing for me. So... try work that out, Rob. Good luck. I bet you can't play it as crappy as that. I don't even know what I'm doing with that stuff, man. I see it and I'm like, oh, that's awesome. I don't understand. Yeah. It's the blues pleb in me, man. I don't get it. Any plans to do a solo Dallas Storm X review? Bit of a Aussie connection there. You know, I don't know what that is. So I don't know if I'm out of the loop there, but I'm going to copy that and paste it into my browser over here so I can have a look at it in a minute. Because, yeah, sorry, I don't know what exactly that is. Oh, okay, so it's another pedal. All right, I don't know about it. So they haven't contacted me or anything, but I'll have a look at it and see if it's something that that would suit the channel. I'll see how we go. And metal album coming out in late 2020. Man, that would be awesome. Everyone will criticize me just for doing downstrokes. Oh, how's it go? That's the teeth chatterer. Do you think the blues scene will ever see another SRV/Clapton going mainstream with the blues? Don't like Mayer. I mean, there's plenty of great players, man, out there. There really is. It's just I don't know if there'll be someone that's as sort of like as household a name as those guys. I mean, you got to remember the time too. You know, like Clapton reintroduced the blues to the US. Although it was still getting played, he made guys like B.B. King more popular. He really opened up the world to music, to blues music. I mean, Rolling Stones did a lot of that, but he's the main influence for a lot of, the American guys becoming really, really like big stars, I guess, for considering where they were before him. So, and that's not to belittle any of those guys. Like, he's idols of those guys. But yeah, he was a time and place kind of guy, more than anything else. And he helped sort of push the blues back into everybody's, psyche or whatever. Whereas I don't think that's... John Mayer kind of did a bit of that back when he released that Trio album. That's a really great album. Like, irrespective of what you think of it, the Trio album's good because he's singing like a guy who's at his age. He's putting a lot of oomph in his vocal and his playing's fantastic. But I never got into the pretty boy kind of pop stuff that he sort of went back to. It was like, I guess you got to pay the bills. But yeah. So I don't know, man. Like I look at some of the guys on the wall, and guys like Tommy Castro and Chris Kane are as good as any of those guys, but they're not as maybe as pioneering. I guess that's the only way, the last word in the sentence. Like they're not. Stevie Ray he made a more hot-rodded style, the blues, and he took all the stuff he learnt from Hendrix and Albert King and turned it into something that people liked, and he wrote good songs because that's what it's about at the end of the day. It's not really about being a good guitarist. I guess it's more about being a great player, a great songwriter as well as being a great player. But it's sort of changed, I think of there's a lot of really great bands and singers that make great songs. Like Derek Trucks is good, but there's only so much of that you can listen to, like it's not the same. So, or at least for me it isn't anyway. As much as I think he's a wizard on guitar, it's different. So yeah, I don't know. I think Clapton was the right guy at the right time, and he's the first to admit he's like not probably half as good as a lot of the guys that came after him, right? Like there's plenty of better guitar players, or better being a subjective thing. I love Clapton. He's like my biggest influence. But I really feel like there's guys that would run rings around him, right? And he knows that. But I think his strength was good songs mixed with bringing the blues back to somewhere that already had it and making it more popular, and just being a great guitar player who was very emotive in his playing and simple. And that's the difference. Sometimes being fancy doesn't connect with anybody. I know guys that can rip when they play, and not just rip, but they play a lot of weird stuff. And then you get up and you go like, you play something simple and people get into it. So it's like, sometimes it doesn't matter. And I think his style and his playing and all of his influences were part of the reason why he did so well. But not only that, more than anything else, his vocal is awesome. Like so many people don't give him props on his singing. He got better and better with his singing with age. Man, I really think he's one of the few guys whose vocal just improved out of sight. And he's a great singer. So I can't remember what the point of that story was now, where we were going with it. But yeah, I really think it's hard for newer guys to encompass a lot of that. It's going to be, there's too much instant gratification with music these days. You can find anything you like in an instant on Spotify or on YouTube, and it narrows you into just finding the stuff you want to look for, as opposed to back in the day where people were at the mercy of the radio stations. They didn't have the internet. I didn't have the internet when I was young too, so you were listening to stuff on the radio, hoping to find stuff you listened to, and they would give you a larger selection of stuff they throw at you, and then you'd find what you liked. Then you go into a shop and buy it and take a gamble. So, yeah, times have changed. I don't think I think there'll be better players than obviously Clapton and Stevie Ray, and I think there already are players that can run rings around some of them. As much as people love Stevie Ray, he's not one of my favorite players. I think he's phenomenal at what he does, but his style never really spoke to me in the same way Clapton's did, which is funny because I know Stevie Ray's probably a better player. But I like a different approach to blues guitar, like more of a relaxed and phrasing approach as opposed to just ripping your face off. I don't like that with blues personally, but when I watch Stevie, I'm always in awe how great he is, but I can't watch too much of it. It's just not my style. So I feel very much the same about Gary Moore. I think Gary Moore runs rings around just about everybody, in any style of music. He's fantastic. But it's the same thing. Like, it's not everybody's cup of tea, whereas Clapton's probably the most widely accepted guitar player for people who don't even play guitar and for people who play guitar. So that's the difference. And that's how Mayer is as well, to some extent. Even though I don't like his singing, I'd take Clapton 10 out of 10 days over John Mayer's voice. I really feel like, he's about the closest thing we've had in a while. Well, maybe not now, but going back a few years where he kind of was helping push blues forward. I mean, I could be wrong. Like, let me know in the comments if you agree or not, or if you think there's someone who has done a better job of bringing that music forward. I mean, there's guys like Johnny Lang as well, but he sort of went off the radar, in my opinion. He was awesome. And the great thing is, too, a lot of the guys like Buddy Guy and B.B. King, they helped sort of bring up the talent as well. They do gigs with them and they invite them in, and I think that's great. So, yeah. Billy plays 7 strings. Far out, okay. Kenny Wayne Shepherd doesn't get enough love. Yeah, see, for me though, Kenny Wayne he's a Stevie Ray wannabe. That's how I heard him when he first came out. I like some of his songs, right? Like, don't get me wrong, I actually have one of his albums. I got that Blue on Black one or whatever it's called. But yeah, there was too many guys trying to sound like Stevie Ray, and that ruined Stevie Ray for me as well. Especially going to jams and going to different places, and you'd always hear those guys. You see these dudes in there. They might be 20 years old. They're wearing the hat. They live in Melbourne, and they're wearing all this weird crap, and it's like, man, Bring your own personality to it. It's just what it is. No one wants to hear clones. Well, no one wants to hear just a particular clone of someone. There's plenty of those guys out there. Yeah, Gary Clark Jr., he's pretty mainstream. I don't think he's sort of like enough of a virtuoso to be considered like it doesn't need, you could say B.B. King wasn't a virtuoso. He was just great at what he did. And I think that's kind of like Gary Clark. He's good at what he does, but I don't consider him either a spectacular singer or guitarist. I think he's good. I'm not saying he's like, he kicks my ass, or I'm not putting that in the conversation. I'm just saying, compared to other guys, Gary Clark Jr. to me he's not on the same level, either vocally or, you compare that to Freddie King, right? He doesn't sing as good as Freddie King. Is he as good a guitar player as any of the other guys we've been talking about? He's not, in my opinion. He's good. He's good and he's solid. But yeah, this is all subjective and opinionated stuff, right? So, yeah, I could be talking out of my ass here. Coming up to 30 years this August. Hard to believe he's gone. Far out 30 years, man. Stevie Ray, huh? Yeah, and then we had Kobe today, which sucks. Well, who wasn't a muso, obviously, but yeah, huge loss. John Butler Trio, John Butler. Yeah, if people who don't know John Butler Trio, go check him out. He's an American dude from California, I think he was. He moved out to Australia, and they had a really great band. Some of their songs were. I've got a couple of. I've got at least one of their albums on CD still. I can't think of what it's called. It's like, I want to say Sailing or something, but not Sailing. It was something else. Anyway, yeah, really, really cool band. Do I like Bonamassa? Yeah, bits and pieces of him. I've grown to appreciate him more. Like, I never really got into him at all. I used to... I don't know what it was about him. For years and years, I wasn't interested. And then I heard him play with... I like his collaborations. He does this blues... It's like, I think it was King of the Blues competition thing they had in the States. And he's playing with... what's his name? Oh, no. This is embarrassing. He's one of my favorite singers and guitarists. Anyway, there's this... I'm going to have to find it now. This is going to drive me nuts. And then once I heard him play with... damn it. I'm so bad with names. Sorry. Oh, it's totally... I'm going to shake my head as soon as I see it. Maybe it wasn't called King of the Blues. Maybe it was called Blues... Yeah, here we go. What was the dude's name? I can't believe I've been listening to his bloody albums on Spotify as well. Oh, come on, man. Dude with long hair. He played in the Allman Brothers as well. Anyway, someone will help me out there. I'm sure someone will mention it. Anyway, there's this live clip of both of them playing, and after that, I went, oh man, like I'm really digging what Bonamassa was doing. You know, I've got a few friends who have seen him play live, and they've had mixed results with him watching him live. But yeah, he's refined what he does over the years, and I'm starting to appreciate it more. It was more like I wasn't that interested because I was already listening to stuff I loved, so I just dismissed it based on my ignorance, maybe. But yeah, it. I can't believe I can't think of this dude's name. I want to share this with you because it's really good. I listened to it like about 50 times going over on my last trip overseas. See if I can find it. They do this Albert King song called got it. I know what it's called. Yeah, I'll find it now. Let's have a look. Come on, where is this bloody video? Sucks. Anyway, I can't find it. Damn. Anyway, yeah, I'll try and put it in the description later. Sorry, I can't find it. No, not Hubert Summerlin. This guy's he's a white American singer, big dude. Far out, man. I can't believe I've forgotten his name. I always like comment on him all the time, and no, it's gone. Oh, Eric Gales. Eric Gales is another great player too. Yeah, absolutely. No, it's not Dwayne Allman either. It's damn, what's this dude's name? Oh, hang on. He did a cover of hang on. Let's try this. Warren Haynes. Far out. What I'm an idiot. How? There we go. Warren Haynes. So if you type in Warren Haynes and Joe Bonamassa 30 minutes later, yeah, there we go, Todd. Thanks, man. Yeah, you typed it in. Yeah, have a listen to that live blues show. That's what kind of changed my mind on Bonamassa. I was like, man, this guy's great. I really didn't appreciate him at all, or didn't give it the time to listen to. But yeah, he's one of those guys. I still don't know. I couldn't name 5 of his songs, but when I've seen him play live on YouTube, I've actually been going, man, this is great. So, yeah, there's a lot of guys like that I just haven't listened to, and not because I don't want to. I just haven't. You know, it's just one of those things. Yeah, Robin Ford's another great player, absolutely. Doogie Howser, MD. And Warren Haynes is great. Yeah, King of Covers. Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's I've had a couple of his albums on Spotify, and it's pretty cool. Oops, let's move this back over here. All right. Well, did the stream drop, or are we still going? I think it may have dropped. It says we've got 5 people watching, which doesn't seem correct. Anyway, we've been going for like 3 hours or something, so I'll probably be just about done. I need to eat today. Hey, Metalhead Hippie, welcome, man. Maybe the back end of the YouTube thing's glitching a bit, but hopefully it's still working. It looks like it's all right. Do I rate the Blues Junior 4? Does it take pedals well? I think the Blues Junior 4 is probably the best stock Blues Junior you can get. Just in terms of the fact you get the good Celestion A-type speaker in there. It gives it a bit more headroom. It really feels louder with that in there. So yeah, it's good. Hey, Kenneth Russell's welcome, man. So guys, Kenneth had his YouTube channel wrecked or hacked, and he lost it. So yeah, if you want to support him, that's his new account. You can go check it out and resub back there if you were already subbed. Yeah, it's a huge shame, man. I've seen that happen is not cool. You know, it really got me thinking about, like, I'm an IT guy, and I got me thinking about like securing more of my passwords and changing them. You know, a lot of people use the same 5 passwords for everything, and I started getting like lazy with stuff. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go through, and I went through like 50 of my my websites and changed up passwords because I was like, man, that's just a horrible thing to have happen. So yeah, jump on his YouTube and hit subscribe. Same with Robert Baker too, guys. If you're not already subbed to those, we've got Lando here as well. He's just released a new video I haven't watched yet, so it's the Tele shootout video. I'm looking forward to checking that out. Yeah, Dwayne solo on Layla. Yeah, it's great. It's funny, there's a video on that Layla solo where it's isolated and then you can hear just their guitar parts. And it's funny hearing it without the background music. It's just so, there's so much going on, you know. But when you hear it in the context of the mix, it sounds amazing. Like, and the tones are really weird when you hear them on their own. You know, they've been obviously EQ'd for the album, but I think they were playing through small amps on that album, like the little champs and stuff. And it sounds completely different on the isolated recordings. If you type in, I think it's the engineer who worked on that, did a video about, you know, doing that session, and he still had it on some, I don't know how they store the information back then, but he had it still, and he was going through all the different tracks, and it was really interesting. 2FA on all your accounts. I don't know what that means, man. Sorry. Yeah, so yeah, go check out Kenneth's channel. Or is it already plural? How about the Kenneth Russell channel? That's a lot easier to say. There you go. Yeah, because that was brutal. You know, as soon as I heard about that, I tried contacting YouTube's Twitter account and all that, but unfortunately, nothing. So, yeah, man, that support is pretty disappointing. You know, it's a shame that, you know, you put all those years and have all those views and make YouTube X amount of money and they don't help you recover the account. I think that's terrible. That's one of the worst things I've ever heard of. It almost got me thinking as well. Like, I've got all of my videos I've ever made on the channel backed up on hard drives. Excuse me. And I thought to myself, maybe it's almost worth making another account and just having them all unlisted, just on the off chance that ever happened. Because you lose, like, you know, it's just a mess, right? It'd be great to be able to just go launch, have all your videos back out online. So, yeah, it got me thinking of some sort of like redundancy stuff you can do to try to keep that, you know, to help when that sort of stuff happens. But I think one of the big tricks is to, yeah, not give anyone access to your channel if you're a YouTuber. Not that you did, by the way, but I think there's a lot of plugins. Like, I remember when Skillshare approached me they wanted to promote like a month of videos or something, and I wasn't that interested, and they said, oh, sign in with this app online. I clicked on it, and the Google message is like, so these guys will have full access to your account analytics and everything. I'm like, escape. Yeah, I don't trust any of that stuff. So, excuse me. Sorry, hang on. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, so sorry about that. It's a horrible cough. Yeah. Oh man, look. I would hope if something like that happened to my channel, other people would say, "Hey, the new channel's up." You know, if they like what I do and all that, and you know, you've been on my channel, I've been on yours, and you're a good guy, man. So yeah, hopefully it helped, and hopefully other people helped spread the word as well. I remember even when Will's Easy Guitars videos, you know, his channel got deleted that first time, and irrespective of what you think of him, I've spoke to him offline, and he's a nice enough guy. So, you know, there's a live stream that came up, and I plugged his new channel, which didn't go over well with everybody. But you think, like, how much work people put into this stuff and how much value it is to a lot of people, and how much some people have helped, you know, the guitar community, and you think, yeah, all right, it's worth sort of helping out other people with that. It's, you know, the least we can do. All right, guys. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to go because it's been like however long it's been. 3 hours and 3 minutes and 43 seconds. So that sounds like a good enough time to sign off. I don't know whether or not the stream will be left up or not because it is long and everyone will whinge that weren't here for it, that they missed it and they're not going to watch a 3-hour video because that's how people are. So, yeah, we'll see how we go with that. But I'll leave it up for a while anyway, maybe 24 hours. And yeah, so stay tuned. I got an announcement video coming up in the next few weeks. There's only a handful of people who kind of know part of what's going on with this, and I kept part of it to myself because it's going to be fun. And if I'm in any areas where there's... actually, I'm not going to give it away too much. Stay tuned. It's going to be fun. All right, guys. Thanks again. Metalhead Hippie, good to see you, man. Got Todd. Thanks again. Thanks for all the super chat, guys. I appreciate that. Yeah, and yeah, thanks for all the support. We've got more videos. I think there's a video coming up tonight, one pedal video, last one of these little ones, and then I've got like other stuff coming up for the weekend, a couple of shootouts and a few other videos. So yeah, this month I'm working on a few other things at the moment, but I'll be back to hopefully a few more videos next month. We'll see how we go. All right, guys, rock on. Have a great week, and I will. Was it still the weekend over in the US? I guess it would be. Anyway, yeah, all the best, and we'll catch you soon. Thanks again.